Well, this is interesting. Looks like I'm playing solo tonight. So, don't really have a particular topic here. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, is the audio coming through okay? Since I've had nobody to test this with. So, um, anyway, yeah, the waiting image there was the Fafner, the Triceratops at the museum, the Science Museum of Minnesota. He was named after the dragon in Fafner's opera because in 1966, when it was first completed, they had a unveiling ceremony in which Wagner's niece gave a short speech and christened him by putting a gold ring around his nasal horn, saying, "Finally, a crown for Fafner." So, um, yeah, I really didn't have anything prepared for going solo, so not quite sure what to talk about. Of course, for all I know, nobody's hearing anything because nobody's actually told me they heard anything yet. So am I even coming through the speakers? So I guess I have to forge ahead and assume this is working. Okay, good. Hey, Terry. How you doing? Well, anybody who wants to is welcome to jump in here and join me. I really did not have a monologue prepared, so without somebody to talk to, I'm feeling kind of lost here. I can monologue, it's just usually I have to write it out beforehand. Not so good on throwing things together on the fly. So, I did break 200 subscribers this week, so if anybody wants to, we can do this as an Ask Me Anything session. Yeah, there's likely to be some silences. I wind up muting my mic quite a bit from time to time. Usually there's other people talking to cover it, but talk about my passion. Yeah, that's always been a difficult thing for me is people say, follow your passions or do what you're passionate about. And honestly, I'm not generally a very emotional person, so I'm not even sure what people mean by that. I don't know if I've ever been passionate about anything. I mean, I've been passionate with a partner, but that's not really the same meaning of the word. I haven't really had any interest that I've really, felt was something I always needed to do. I've had things that I get obsessed with for periods of time, but it's nothing that I ever felt I couldn't do without. Yeah, even as far as the 200 subs, two simultaneous streams? Okay, did YouTube screw that up again? There were supposed to be, one scheduled for next week. Yeah. Yeah, one of those is supposed to be scheduled for next week, and of course, the YouTube account screwed it up and started both of them at the same time. And every friggin' time I go in here, it insists on switching me back to the Creator Studio beta, which I want nothing to do with. And I don't know how to work. I don't really even care to. Okay, lovely. Apparently it won't even let me kill the other one off. Let's see what I can do here. What the frig? Uh, yeah. I am not seeing any way to cancel this or stop the stream without killing both of them. So thank you, YouTube, as usual. Let's try to sidetrack this. What happens if we do this? Okay, somebody want to check for me if you can still see two streams or just the one? I don't like what I had to do, but let's see. I think that might have kind of gotten away with it. All right. Well, you'll notice that the two streams, one said episode 14 and one said episode 15. So we should be on episode 14. Episode 15 was set up to be next week's. And I only set it up so that would send the notice out a week in advance like it's supposed to do. But yeah, well, I didn't want to just leave it out there and ignore it, because if some people were going to one and some were going to the other, there was no way I was going to be able to keep up the side chat in two of them. Okay. So I couldn't kill it, but I managed to hide it. I'll have to kill it after the broadcast is over. So anyway, yeah, my YouTube account is messed up in a number of ways. Like, I can't use OBS because it won't pass a stream key to any other program. And it also won't let me put up custom thumbnails. So I'm actually reaching the point of I am feeling that I may actually have to delete this account and start over, which I don't want to do because, like I said, I just got 200 subs, and even if I tell people ahead of time, I'm sure that I will lose more than half of my subscribers. But at this point, I think that maybe my only option for getting things to work correctly, because I basically think YouTube has fucked my account over, that there are just a couple of bits that are set wrong. And of course, YouTube doesn't have any customer service. I can never get a response from them. I keep trying to send them emails about it, and all I get are responses from bots, so I have absolutely no indication that a human being has ever read anything I have ever sent them. Tony has clones. I didn't know about clones, but I did say I had an army of 700 sock puppets, and that was how Nacho got his first 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, I need somebody to hack into YouTube and put my account to be the way everyone else's is supposed to be. I think the problems I'm having have something to do with the fact that YouTube deleted my account twice before I ever put up my first video. Of course, never gave me a reason why. Which is, it's really useful when they suspend or delete accounts without giving anyone a reason, because then you don't know what it is you're supposed to avoid doing in the future. And I can't say for certain, it's all speculation on my part, but I'm pretty sure it happened because when I was making comments on other people's videos, there was a Muslim guy that was in the comment sections of a couple of atheist videos that I think I rather pissed him off. Okay, Terry. I'll DM you a link on Twitter here. Where's the invite link? Okay, Terry, I just DM'd you a link on Twitter there. Uh, Quick. Well, Shane is not omnipresent as I haven't seen much of him around lately, so he obviously hasn't been everywhere for a while. Anyway, I was mostly sitting here tonight picking through some Lego sets because I've been trying to get enough parts to actually be able to build my avatars out of Lego. One of the problems for this has been that for Lego, the dark purple has been a rather rare to find color. So I just bought a couple of the Harry Potter Night Bus kits because they're made out of a lot of dark purple. So basically, I'm just ripping the kits open and assorting the pieces by colors. Um, I have a thing on my Amazon wish list that basically it's software to do stop motion animation with the Legos. So I think that's something that would be fun to do, and I could use in some of my videos. Yeah, you know, I've had Legos from the very early days, from way before they even had minifigs. And I have quite a considerable collection, which actually I really need to thin out because I'm hoping eventually to be able to move again. And right now, my Lego collection would pretty much fill a U-Haul on its own. So I am subscribed to a couple of channels for Lego creations, and it's like, yeah, what some people can turn out with them is really, really incredible. I do not have nearly that artistic skill level. Uh, yeah, actually, Doc, did you see one of the products they have released now is they actually have Lego brand slippers that have like a half-inch thick foam pad in the sole specifically for that problem. My ex had actually banned Legos from the main floor of the house because she didn't trust them. She never actually had a problem with me. That was problems she had with her kids before I moved in. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't use that for an idea in the Home Alone movies. The basic Lego blocks are pretty good for that because no matter how they fall, there's always a corner sticking up. At least I don't have a kitty stealing my pieces anymore. I still have a cat, but he doesn't seem much interest in the Legos. When I lived in St. Paul, my cat Tasha proved to me beyond the shadow of a doubt that cats are not colorblind because whenever I had something out like a game or the Legos, she would only steal the red pieces. She ignored all the other colors. In a pile of Legos, she would pick out, she would grab red pieces and run away with them and hide them behind the couch. This got to be a problem with my Axis and Allies game as she kept stealing the Russian infantry. Didn't bother any of the other pieces. So anyone who tells you cats are colorblind, they're full of shit. Oh, the Batmobile. Yeah, I've never been a Batman fan. Actually, I'm not really a big fan of any of the licensed Lego themes. I always really, I prefer just the general creative thing of build your own stuff. There are very few kits that I even bothered with. I usually buy them for the parts, or else it's like I built them once and that was it. Ah, yeah. So am I that boring? Nobody's got any questions about me at all? Yeah, I'm not used to flying solo here, so anybody's welcome to jump in at this point. Yeah, Atheist Veteran, check your DMs on Twitter. I just sent you a link. Oh, well, I said we could do this as an AMA, but apparently nobody cares to know anything about me, so. Or is it just that I've been so open that I've already answered all your questions by now? I did receive the camera Neil sent me. It's still in the box. I've been too busy this week even to plug it in and figure out how to use it. So yes, thanks to Neil, I do now have a decent camera, so I will be learning to use that. So yeah, soon I will be able to shoot my own videos, and people may actually see. Yeah, may actually get to see what I look like, and then I might as well delete my channel because probably nobody will be watching after that anyway. Doc, have I always been a sweetie? Well, I guess that's a subjective thing. It depends who you ask. I thought it would be appropriate to save the face reveal actually until I had 288 subscribers because that would be my 2 gross stream. But since I've got the camera now, that it'll probably come before that. I probably won't wait that long for it. So I'm probably not going to have a chance to play with the camera at all this week because unfortunately this weekend I have to make a trip down to Chicago and go and bring my sister-in-law back. She's been down there. I won't go into things, but her mother's been in the hospital, and basically my brother's made the drive there and back so many times at this point that he's just exhausted from it. So I volunteered to go and pick her up this weekend to give him a break because basically he's been working or driving, every day for the last 3 weeks. Yeah, the camera that Neil sent me is the Logitech 920 series. As far as what software I use, I've got a feeling that's going to be based on what my computer can handle. Because my computer is still very low on RAM. I only have 8 GB of RAM. And everybody is telling me that Windows 10 takes up about 6 GB on its own. So that is my top priority at this point is to upgrade the RAM, which on Amazon for about $65, I can get a set of chips that'll add 16 GB to it. So it'll bring me from the 8 GB I have up to 20 GB. And that would make a huge difference because there's a couple of programs that I've tried to learn only to find out that they either won't run at all or they're unstable on a system with this little memory. I've been trying to do even just a little bit of photo manipulation, and I find that even with that, if I just have more than 3 or 4 pictures open and I'm trying to, like copy and paste elements between them, that's enough to crash the computer. So I've been using OpenShot for the edited videos. Hello, Dave. I've been using OpenShot for the couple of edited videos I
had to
did,
plug in the
and
headset.
with the amount of RAM I have, it takes me over an hour to render a 6-minute video. So how's it going for you?
Oh, it's going well. Doing some new things on my channel. Well, not really new things, but things I haven't done in a while on my channel. Started my Fuck My Life streams, and that seems to be going over okay.
Well, yeah, it's such an optimistic title.
Well, the whole premise is that I read stories that just make you want to just say "fuck my life." I read stories, watch some news. Like for example, the rainforest is on fire. That's always, a heartwarming story.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I actually try to avoid watching too much news because it gets difficult to take, especially with all of the politics.
Well,
I
I'm
try
the
to watch enough to keep up on the politics, but
yeah. I agree. The news is depressing, but I'm the kind of guy that likes to be aware of his surroundings. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the news on mainstream TV and whatever is not reliable. But if you look through enough, you can pick out the important stuff from each channel.
yeah, that's the other part of it is that you really do have to pick through it. And, you never know from any of the channels what you can really believe. There's no journalistic integrity and there's no fact checking anymore. They just say all sorts of shit, and you got to go and find out for yourself if any of it's true.
Well, I think I've come up with a pretty good way to judge how full of shit a story is. How, I judge it by how much they cover it. The more coverage, the more full of shit, or the least amount of importance it has. Usually there's one or two stories that are important, but they won't cover it for more than just maybe a one news article buried beneath some sort of other article about Trump's tweets or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that is the problem. That the stuff that is important, you'll only hear about once or twice. You hear about Trump every day, all day long, even if he never does anything worth talking about.
Well, for example, is every week they post the same news articles like Trump told this many lies this week, or Trump. It's the same article every week. Okay, we get it. Trump lies. Can we get to the important shit? The rainforest is literally on fucking fire. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's whatever. Yeah. So let me see if I can
yeah, I
find.
get you, and it's like, you know, it. My desire to remain reasonably well informed is in great conflict with my desire to remain sane.
Yeah, I given up on my sanity a while ago, as you can tell from all my videos.
Well, I've never put too much stock in sanity, but I mean, enough so to continue to function within society.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Um, yeah, recently I've just been working on my channel, trying to do as much as I can the with the algorithm, and I might be kind of screwed on the Atheist Veteran channel just by having the name the Atheist Veteran.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
so
sounds like that from the experiments Jimmy ran, that having atheist in the name is probably going to keep you from ever, making much of it.
yeah. So I'm thinking about starting a new channel called the Darth Veteran, but I don't want to fucking give in to the bullshit. To the bullshit YouTube pulls on
Yeah.
creators.
Okay, Angie's saying that you have an echo.
I do, don't I?
So did you forget to mute the YouTube thing?
No, it seems pretty legit. Let me see my settings. Oh, that's probably what it is. It's on default mic. It's on my USB mic. There we go. Oh, I think I still hear an echo. Hmm.
Well, ask the chat.
No.
Angie, you'll let us know if it gets any better.
Yeah, Angie, please. I'm under my daughter's Minecraft account. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
as I was saying, I probably am going to have to start a new channel myself, which pisses me off because I literally did spend a couple of months thinking over and selecting a good name because I want something that wasn't going to limit me to any one subject and yet was something that wouldn't be hard for people to spell so they could
Yeah.
actually look it up.
Let me see. Device properties.
So
Yeah.
so I'm kind of perturbed that it looks like I'm going to have to start all over myself.
It sucks. See how to turn down my gain. My gain. Maybe if I just turn on my microphone, that might help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. We might just be fucked with the way the audio is. I hate
Okay.
this.
Might have to bear with it. Sometimes it happens.
I could turn down the mic as much as I can while still being able to be heard.
Oh, actually, Angie's saying that's better already.
Okay. Well, let me turn it down just a little bit more just to make sure. Additional device properties.
So, is there any significance to the half Darth Vader mask other than being a Star Wars fan?
It's kind of something that's gained significance with me. It's Yep, I can hardly hear an echo. Cool. Thanks, Doc. It's pretty much, you know, I'm not all in with just the whole perspective of, light versus dark. There's shades of gray everywhere. And I think Darth Vader is a great character that represents that. It represents that there's shades of gray and everything. And, just residing yourself to one side or the other, which is why it's just half,
Yeah.
you know. And really, my whole point is the dark side part of this isn't Darth Vader. It's actually me. Darth Vader can be redeemed. I sometimes feel that I cannot. But it doesn't mean that there is any redemption to be had to begin with. But the whole point is, Darth Vader is someone who's dark, was redeemed, and maybe, that might be part of what I'm going for. Really, I just thought it was cool, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I've never really accepted the concepts of good and evil. They're,
Yeah,
no matter how you define them, they're always subjective.
yeah, makes sense.
So I think at the most it's a matter of you can't really say an action is good or bad
Yeah,
because it's all situational. So the best you can do is determine, where the motivations involved something selfless or noble,
yeah,
and even that, those are subjective terms in themselves. But it's
yeah.
like, is somebody doing it just to benefit themselves and doesn't care who they screw, or are they doing something that's for a greater good?
Well, I mean, I'm really big into the mythos where like the comic books and the books that have been written that go a little bit deeper into the psychology of Darth Vader. And there's a lot more in that than you would expect. He's pretty much fighting himself constantly,
Okay.
and sometimes it's not even like he's knowingly doing it. It's just a
Yeah,
subconscious
that.
that he's
Yeah, I
always
haven't read
there.
any of that, so I don't have that
Yeah,
background. You might have an interesting discussion about
yeah,
that with Bad Tempered Badger. He was
yeah.
in my stream Tuesday. Bad Tempered Badger and Cirrus got into a long discussion on the Star Wars extended universe.
Well, just Darth Vader by himself is an incredibly complex character when you really think about it. And the things that they add to it just makes it even more complex and interesting.
That seriously sounds like something that Badger would really like to do. You should send him
Yeah,
a DM about doing a collaboration on that,
I'll
on
think about it.
discussing Vader's psychology. I could really
Um,
see him doing that.
redeem. Angie Dell says redeem from what and by whom? Well, I would like to say redeemed from what? Pretty much from myself. I don't think there's anything really that judges me or that I have personally to be afraid of. But just from my own expectations or whatever. But to be honest with you, Angie, I wouldn't look too much into it. It was a cool thing. It was a cool fan art that my friend did for me, and I liked it, and I used it as an avatar. But I like to throw some meaning in there on top of it too. As best as I can. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you're in here by yourself, just chit chatting.
Yeah, I've never tried to do one solo before, so I didn't really know what to talk about.
Oh well,
I'm kind
I'm
of
glad I
surprised
saw.
that none of my usual crew has showed up.
I'm surprised too. They've been really active on Twitter. I know Wonder Lady's been really active lately. Um,
Well,
but
yeah, but for Faye, this is kind of late. She usually goes to bed by now.
yeah, but I'm glad I was able to at least pop in here for a little bit. So
Yeah, I
I saw
appreciate you
you. I saw
stopping
you.
in.
Yeah, I'll be on for a little bit longer, but I just wanted to make sure that at least you had someone to talk to.
Yeah. Well, I understand if you got other things to do if you need to run along
Yeah.
too.
Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine for now.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's new with you?
Well, I don't know, how much you heard before you came in. Neil sent me a camera,
Hmm.
so I've got a camera to work with, but I haven't had time to even take it out of the box and play with it yet.
I know I heard about you possibly doing a face reveal because you got a camera.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to get used to using the camera, and I'm gonna have to find out what software I can use with it because my computer's really tight on memory.
Yeah. Inquisitive Quandary says Vader's a good personification of a trolling sock account. No offense, AV. Oh, I mean, none taken. If you, I don't really think that you're accusing me of being a sock account. If you just look at my channel, there's like over 125 videos, so I don't really need to worry about that. And second of all, I'm not offended by that, even if you meant offense.
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't. He makes a lot of flippant comments.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you for that, 80s veteran. Perp. Oh yeah, yeah, no problem. Perp is a good guy. He let me do a video on him on his channel.
Yeah, I need to, you know, get to doing some more edited videos myself.
Yeah.
Although there have been a couple of things that have been discouraging me, things to do with YouTube. And I have been suspicious of problems with my account the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the more I try to do things, the more I'm confirming them. And like I
Oh,
say,
I agree.
feeling I may have to create a new account. One of the things is that for some reason, I can't upload any custom thumbnails. I'm
Oh,
pretty much stuck with whatever YouTube randomly
you
selects out of
haven't?
my video.
Have you verified your account?
Yeah, if the account wasn't verified, I wouldn't be able to stream.
Oh yeah,
However, even though I've been streaming for 3 months, if I try to connect any OBS to it, it says this account is not verified for streaming.
that's fucking weird.
So, yeah, that's what I mean. There's just something screwed up in my account, and I can't find any way to fix it. So, I think the only thing I can do is delete it and start over.
Yeah. Well, a
Oh,
lot of us are having that problem.
hello,
The Aussie prospect.
Aussie Perspective. I think that's Terry Davis.
Terror Davis. Yeah, like I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but it does seem that there is a big problem with how they're choosing what content to promote. I think it's personally, I think it's unfair because we don't get to see why or how or what we're doing to justify our videos not getting promoted and other videos getting promoted. There's a lack of transparency.
Yeah, well, I think it is mostly that YouTube is afraid of promoting anything that might make an advertiser cringe a bit.
And I'm fine with that, but at least tell the creators so they can adjust.
Yeah,
What they're doing wrong.
but I mean, as far as anything that says atheist or LGBT that they're trying to steer clear of because they're afraid that they might lose an advertiser for it.
Yeah.
You know, despite
Uh,
the fact that basically YouTube is only what it is because it's been built on controversy from the beginning.
they don't see it that way though. And plus, it's not the owners of YouTube that grew YouTube to what it is. Google took over YouTube at its prime.
Yeah.
So they didn't have any part in how it was or how it became so popular. And so I don't expect them to realize why people are upset.
Well, I don't even think it's a question whether or not they realize it. I think it's just
They don't
they
care.
really don't give a shit about any channel with less than 500,000 subscribers.
They really do. I mean, they really don't.
They're in it for the money, and unless you've got a 500,000 subscribers, they're not making enough money off of you to make it worth their time.
It's called Disneyfication. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is, though.
you know. Well, and again, they don't get the concept that for them to continue to get new channels, they have to have a way for small channels to grow. But,
Yeah,
they're going with the corporate channels. They're going with,
the
the
safe
CNN
channels.
and, the networks that can afford to put the money up front for all the big equipment, and
Hmm.
come out full blown with producing, channels that are putting out 10 videos a week right from the start.
I'm here
Yeah.
now. I was just playing around with my avatar.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Ooh, yeah,
I was
there.
wondering why we weren't hearing anything from you.
Yeah, I was focused on trying to sort that out. I had it working with someone else's live stream, but it didn't work when I came in here. I thought it'd follow on from each StreamYard live streams, but it seemed it didn't. Unless I mucked up my computer. I was trying to fix up something and I lost all my saved things. So that's what it'd be.
Mm.
Simple explanation for a simple problem.
You know, um, this is my first time doing StreamYard, so
Yeah, I'm still working out what to do with my live streams. I've been playing around with Discord. It was going all right there for a little while, and then I was able to live stream the YouTube video. I'm hearing an echo. I don't know. Is it mine? No, it's not on
I've
mine.
been noticing echo on mine as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Angie had mentioned that there was an echo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and YouTube wouldn't allow the sound. No, Discord wasn't letting the sound go through. I'm running through OBS, so that's how I've been streaming that way. But Discord's mucked up for some reason. It's not allowing the sound to come through. So last Wednesday night's show was a bit of a fiasco. But I'll I'll bear through it and try again on Saturday.
yeah. I've been doing my streams on OBS, but if I want to have more than one person, I just have to use some sort of third party thing.
Yeah. Angie
Nope.
says she's only one subscriber short of 50, so if anybody's not subscribed to her
I
already,
got
go
her.
there.
I got you, Angie.
Yeah, I'm getting close to 100, so
Woo, not a 50.
I'm getting there for some. I'm slowly but surely.
Yep.
Yeah. I've I have a Discord account set up. I find it confusing as hell. I just really
It
haven't
takes
figured out how to use it for much of anything.
Discord is one of those things that kind of takes practice. At. I had
Uh,
a I had a Discord for my Knights my Star Wars The Old Republic account for my clan, and I kind of learned a little bit about it from that. But yeah, I don't know how I would do a stream on that.
Well, part of the problem I have with Discord is I feel I don't even understand half the terminology people are using. So it's hard to ask questions when you don't even know the right vocabulary.
I know I was
yeah.
on a Discord and there was a lot of furry porn.
Well, I've only set up my Discord just plain. It's not nothing fancy, but it's got the Aussie flavour, so it, that helps out anyone that doesn't know about Australians that well. They can come in and listen and talk to us Aussies.
I've talked to a lot more Aussies in the past couple weeks than I have in my entire life.
Well, actually, I had started off this midnight stream mostly for the Aussies because they were saying that, the time everybody was streaming at didn't work for any of them.
Yeah, this time of day is fine for me, except if I was working, it wouldn't be like daytime.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah,
not
well, that's, I
working.
understand it's like middle of the afternoon for you there now, huh?
Yeah, 3:49. Yeah, 10 to 4.
It's also winter over there.
Yeah, yeah, but we haven't had a real wet. Been cold of a night time and a bit of a wind blowing at the moment, but it's been very dry, like where I am anyway.
That sucks. No one likes a dry winter.
Yeah. Melbourne, and Victoria get a little bit of the rain at winter time, but we've been getting a dry winter.
Mm. And yes, there is much furry porn. Tony, I totally agree. There is a lot of furry porn on Discord.
Yeah. I've been on DeviantArt, so
Yeah,
I don't think you come up with too much that would phase me at this point. I've seen too many things that I would rather have never seen.
it was weird when I got on Discord because every room has like a not safe for work uh, area that you click on.
Hmm.
That's where everyone just randomly posts like their dick pics and shit. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, I think I'm been pretty free of that on mine. I haven't had the need for a not safe for work one.
I haven't taken a dick pic in like fucking 10 years.
Well, I've never sent one to anyone unless they had specifically asked for it.
Yeah, you're a better man than me. We all make
Yeah.
mistakes.
Well, you realize I had to qualify that, but
Angie says she's too old to know what it is. Be
Yeah,
thankful.
I'm getting to that age where I don't care.
Yeah, me too. Even when it comes to stuff I usually enjoy, like video games, I'm just like, nope.
I don't
No.
mind some video games just for the entertainment value, but I don't. Some people just get into the younger ones. I notice really get right into it. The certain types of ones like World of Warcraft or whatever it is.
Oh, that's not what you said. Okay, my bad. I'm old. I know what it is. Oh, okay, my bad. My bad, Angie. I'm old. My eyesight's going. So give me a
yeah.
break.
Well, I know a lot of the online role playing games and that, it just seems like they become a chore. That if you
Yeah.
don't get on there every single day for at least a few hours, you're just going to get the shit kicked out of you.
Yes. Exactly.
And it's like, yeah, I don't want it to become a chore. If it's going to be an obligation, I've got to do it every single day. I'm not interested.
This is why I don't like joining clans and games like that. Because then you have the clans like, oh, why weren't you on? I'm like, bitch, why are you telling me what to do with my time?
You're obligated.
You joined our clan. You have to be on
That's
here
it.
at least once a day. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not doing it. Yeah, I'm leaving the clan. See ya.
that's not a game anymore. That's a job.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
chore. We should make a clan, guys, in a random game, and then start dictating other people's lives. Just be total hypocrites about it.
Like a parody.
Yeah, I know. I joined a tribe in Ark Survival Evolved. If anyone's ever played that game,
Never heard of it.
okay, well, it's kind of like Minecraft with dinosaurs. So basically, you have to gather all these resources to build a bunch of different things, and of course, you join a tribe, and they're like, "Oh, you're the bitch guy. You gotta get all the resources while we have fun." And it's like, why would anyone play a game like this? Why does it just make slavery the game? It's like, yep, you're a slave now. You've worked in cotton fields. It's fun.
Well, there's one that where you're walking around. You're in an Armageddon type zombie environment, and you go around collect things.
Mhm.
Wheels for a car if you want to get the car going, and all sorts of things.
Oh, you mean 7 Days to Die?
Is that the one? Is that one? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what you're talking about.
Not a bad concept, but
Oh
yeah.
no, I played it. It's fun actually for like a month, and then after that you're just done. Angie says, "Don't tell me what to do." You know what, Angie? I can respect that kind of attitude. I respect it.
Yeah, I don't tell anybody what to do. I'm not even good at telling myself what to do.
Oh, I tell my kids what to do, but my wife tells me to tell my kids what to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're the boss until the wife tells you that
Oh yeah,
you are or something. Some saying like that.
yeah, exactly.
yeah, I
And he,
have trouble giving the dog orders.
you know, I just feel bad because today my dog was sick. He got into some old chicken and had the runs, and I felt bad because he was I caught him trying to hump my kid's leg, and so I put him in the cage. And he has a little kennel he goes into, but it's like one of those closed off kennels that you can't really see inside. And the dog shit in there, and I'm looking forever around the house for this dog shit, and I threw the dog in the cage while I looked for the dog shit. The dog was in there for like 2 hours, and he was like yapping and yapping. I'm like, what is your problem?
Oh,
Come to find out, yeah, I threw his ass in there with the dog shit, and I felt
yeah,
so bad. And I cleaned out his thing, and I gave him a treat, and I just wanted to, just say, I'm sorry, Yoshi.
yeah, I know what you mean. They can't really
So,
tell us what's wrong, and you
yeah,
wind up scolding them for something and find out it's not really their fault.
and I was like, oh, he's a cute little. He's like a year and a half old pug. He's got that little baby pug face. Yep, Yoshi. Yoshi's his name.
Yeah, well, I'm limited to one cat in this apartment, but if I had the space, I'd like to have a mid-sized dog.
I'm
Well,
not supposed to have any animals,
they
but I
fixed the
got
fence. They fixed the side fence now, so I could have a dog if I wanted.
nice. Yeah, well, I'm not supposed to have any animals, but I still have a pug and two cats. You know, no one tells me what animals I'm going to have.
Well,
Well,
here it's building policy that each apartment is limited to one animal, and
I would hide.
I think it says something like not over 20 pounds or something.
I would hide my animals like Anne Frank in an attic. So how's
I
everyone?
did the exact opposite of hiding mine. We were letting our cats, run up and down the hall just to let them get some exercise, and we got in trouble for that.
Yeah. Well, our landlord's never around. Our landlord lives in like Los Angeles, which is like an hour away.
Yeah. Well, that's the
So
thing. I don't know why there was a problem because it's like all the neighbors on our floor knew our cats, and nobody on our floor had a problem with it, but somebody still raised the stink.
everybody around here has animals. That's the funny thing about it. It's like we're not supposed to have animals, but every apartment has animals in it. It's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel sorry for my guy because he did get to be an outside cat at least for a while before I moved, and now I feel he's kind of imprisoned in this little apartment.
It's probably better for them anyway. Cats, yeah, it's nice for them to be outside, but you don't
Well, yeah,
you don't need
it's
to be outside. They probably shouldn't be.
not in this area. I did lose two cats in the first year and a half I was living here because
Yeah,
there's a lot more wild animals around here. And
yeah,
I didn't think it was going to be an issue because I figured they'd already encountered every kind of animal up here. But the
yeah.
ones up here are a lot more vicious than the city versions were.
Good night, Tony. Have a good dreams.
Good night, Tony.
Sleep well, young prince. Or is it sweet prince? I don't know. Sleep well, something. I don't know. Aussie perspective, do they let you have wallabies in your apartment complex?
No, I don't live in an apartment. I live in a house.
Oh, you live in a house? Well, geez, aren't you the king of Australia?
Well, then it's more like a concept of can you keep the wallabies out of your yard?
Yeah.
Actually, there's none around where I am.
Ah,
They're more out west. I'm more in the suburban area.
Wow.
yeah, I have to say I don't know much about the geography or the climate around there. I know it varies quite a bit from one province to another, but
All I know about Australia's geography is that Australia looks like a pancake. That I have fucked up.
Well, I know it's about the size of the continental U.S., so I figure they must have the same range of climates.
Mm, yeah, probably. Do you guys like have to deal with like the sun not setting at weird times? Like, I lived in Alaska, and during the summertime, the sun would not go down.
No,
It just
we're a bit north of in that way of our what do you call it, latitude.
Yeah.
yeah. I I'm learning.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the main difference as far as climate goes is that Australia doesn't really have much of any inland rivers.
No, not no big rivers. No.
Yeah, so that's the U.S. We don't have quite as big a desert area because of the Great Lakes and all the rivers that run all over the place. So most of the states have a decent amount of water running through them.
Nice.
I know our Lake Air and around that region's filling up with water for the first time for a long time. That's in the middle of South Australia.
Hmm. Oh man. Ugh. So
Yes, indeed, country Australia does exist.
it
I
does.
get I get I get paid to say that.
It totally exists unless the Earth is flat. Then it doesn't.
Well, no, Australia is on the bottom side of the flat Earth disk. That's why the only way to get around the edge are the black helicopters, because they're part of every conspiracy.
Yes, and that's why we must go to Area 51
Yeah.
and Naruto Run. Oh, that already happened.
Yeah, that's
So has that been and gone? That the meet
Yeah,
up we
that
were
was,
going to try to do.
I think that was the 20th. It was supposed to happen, right?
I
no
haven't heard nothing. I
September.
didn't.
It's
I
Oh,
next
didn't.
month.
it's
Oh,
next
next
month.
month.
Oh,
Oh,
okay, we
okay.
got time. I'll sharpen
Yeah,
my ninja stars.
yeah, because I mean the guy who started it went on TV and said it was all a joke and everything, but I'm sure there's going to be at least a few hundred people that are going to show up there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's opened Pandora's box.
And
There's no
I'm
closing it.
I'm just hoping that they can manage to disperse the crowd without anybody getting killed.
I'm sure that's the first plan, but I can tell you straight up that
Well, at least
if
they've told Area 51 when they're coming, so they can hide all the aliens and the spaceships from
You
them.
dropped out, Terry.
I'm still here, aren't I?
I can hear you.
Yeah, but I think you kind of cut off in the middle of your sentence there.
Oh, okay. I said Area 51's got time now because they let them know what time that they were going to go and the date, so they're going to hide all the
Yeah.
spaceships and all the aliens.
Yeah, and that was the stupidest thing about the whole thing that, the people who actually believed they were going to do this is if you give the Air Force 2 months' notice, what do you expect to find besides empty warehouses when you get there?
And will they actually get onto the property?
Well, that's
Well,
what I'm saying. Even if they did, anything that they were at all concerned about hiding, they would have moved to other locations.
Yeah.
they would have known anyway. Even if they try to keep it super secret on the down low, Area 50, the people
Yeah.
they would have found out.
Yeah, I'm just the people who believe in these conspiracies, their capacity for consistent logic seems to just be lacking. If they think any of these things through logically, they tend to fall apart pretty quickly.
I could kind of respect Area 51 conspiracy theorists a little bit more than other conspiracy theorists because there seems to be a little bit more of an attempt to have evidence of anything. But other conspiracies seem to just provide zero evidence while dismissing every bit of evidence to the contrary of their belief.
But anyone can bring up a conspiracy about anything or any organisation
Yeah,
once anyone else agrees with them.
I'm not saying that they don't do that. I'm just saying that the Area 51 conspiracy is just a teensy bit, a little tiny bit more credible, which isn't saying much
Yeah. Well,
than everything
Area
else.
51, I can understand where it started from at least.
Mm-hmm.
Because back in the 50s and 60s, they actually were experimenting with a lot of strange aircraft there.
Yeah.
So I can see that some people would have seen, things that looked like no plane they had ever seen. And I can see how they, could have jumped to that being extraterrestrial,
I mean, shit.
especially because around that time period there was a lot of hype about that of, everybody was seeing flying saucers coming all over the place.
Well, can you imagine being living in the 50s and seeing a B-52 bomber for the first time? You know, it would look like it would look like a spaceship.
Well,
Well,
even
it's actually,
any jet aircraft that was
Yeah.
being developed, and anyone's looked up and seen it
Mhm.
flying past, they'd think it was some sort of alien ship.
yep,
Yep.
that was actually one of the things that they were one of the first jet bombers they were testing at Area 51.
Hello, Pirate Kitty.
And just to throw people off, anytime that they had it on a truck or were moving it, they actually had to put plywood propellers on it
Mm-hmm.
just
Okay.
because people couldn't get the idea of this being an airplane without propellers.
Yeah.
The Air Force brought to you by IKEA.
Hey, Pirate Kitty.
Argy meower.
But does that bring? I'm just broad spectruming the whole conversation here, but does that bring it down to the naivety of societies not knowing what's going on around them when things get developed or brought in, whether it be technology or and knowledge?
I don't know. I think people just like making their lives a little bit more exciting than what they really are.
Well, I mean, during the Cold War, of course, the government was being very secretive about the technologies they were developing.
That's true.
These days, not so much so, but, corporate espionage is still a big thing. So even the corporations developing new technology, that they don't want their competition to know what kind of thing they're going to be putting on the market next year.
Yeah.
They don't want somebody else to beat them to market with it.
And since we have the internet, like well, since it's been around, I suppose, do you think the conspiracies and all those type of things have become worse, or just more out there with knowledge of people can see into certain conspiracies and get a bit more information and make their own mind up?
I think it's a little bit both.
I
What?
think with the internet that the conspiracies have gotten around more, just because before it would be like one or two weirdos in a town talking about it, and now they can link up with people all over the world that have a similar idea. So just the fact that they can create communities around these things, I think, has actually, led to really more people believing in them because the people who are, like unsure or the people who don't really know what's going on, it's a lot easier for them to get convinced if they, see that there's a group of people talking about it rather than just one or two individuals.
And how many of those people are actually utilize the internet in that context of where they gather information and convey it to other people? Is it just word of mouth, or are they doing it in other ways? That'd be interesting for some, because I know some people are so set in their ideologies and their beliefs.
Okay,
They don't
IQ, I just dropped you a link.
they don't want to expand their knowledge on what they know. They just stick to the narrative and don't want to expand on it or even take in any questions of could this be right or not.
Well, and unfortunately, with the algorithms controlling things, like YouTube and Google, that they keep suggesting similar things. So that kind of feeds into it that if somebody's, searched for it a couple of times, then their computer's going to keep suggesting to them anything similar or anything new that comes up on that topic.
Hmm.
Well,
So
that's
it
what
gives the impression that there's a lot more information about it out there.
yeah. Well, that's what's happened with some of these discussions people have had with these flat earthers, for example. They'll cite other flat Earth videos and YouTube channels and research that other people have done but they're only the YouTube flat earther type people that they're citing it from,
Hmm.
and it's just going around in a circle. They're just
Yep.
copying each other's type of information.
Well, and even before the internet, I found a very similar experience with that. As a teenager, I really got into the cryptoids, the Bigfoot and Loch Ness monster and all that.
Yeah.
And I actually spent years researching the Loch Ness monster, and it's like, yeah, I was like using interlibrary loan to get books from other libraries and everything. So it's like, yeah, I found, like 50 books on it. But when I actually started comparing the sources, I found that basically all of these 50 books were based on the same three newspaper articles,
Yep.
or the books were based on each other, which were based on the same newspaper articles.
That's
So it was
what
people reading these books that were writing a book on the subject, that there wasn't really any new information in any of them.
that's what seemed to be the case with the Mothman prophecies. Um,
Yeah,
it's all the same people telling the same story, the same news articles, but you would think there'd be more information put out because there was a lot more people involved in what happened, but there's not. It sounds like the Bible exactly.
yeah. Well, but the Bible had 2,000 years for the legends to develop.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is that there's no other sources. Really, it's like, especially in the story of Jesus, you think there'd be some sort of records of the Roman military detaining or torturing or killing someone named Jesus, or their
Yeah.
problem with him. You
Well,
know,
and Jesus actually wasn't that uncommon a name.
it's really not. But the first mention of Jesus happened like what, like 50 years after his supposed crucifixion.
Well, the
That's
first of the Gospels was supposed to have been written like 40 years after his death.
yeah. And how's that? How is that? You know, does crucifixion happen and then someone rises from the dead and you only write about it 40 years later? You
Yeah,
know,
especially in an age when not many people live to be 40 years old.
but that's not even the case because they didn't say anything about him rising from the dead 4 years later. The first time of any of Jesus having any supernatural ability was like 120 years after,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, so it's like the chances that anybody who could have witnessed the execution being alive when the first account was written is extremely remote.
Yeah, and it just seems like if that actually did happen, somebody would have written about it, like at least right there and then. You know.
Yeah. Well, and that's, that the people who try to support the Bible keep saying all these historical figures that are mentioned in the Bible, but they
Yeah,
don't seem to get that it doesn't go the other way around. That these historical figures who wrote lots of shit never mention Jesus.
mm-hmm.
That if they were alive at the same time and Jesus was upsetting the Roman Empire this much, shouldn't somebody else have written about him?
Somebody of authority, because
Yeah,
someone's had to keep records. I mean, there's a reason the Roman Empire lasted as long as it did. It did keep meticulous records.
yeah. So why isn't there a record from, any of the people in the Roman army about, hey, there's this guy called Jesus who keeps causing trouble for us?
Yeah, because it wasn't happening. Wasn't happening.
Hey, Jen.
Hi, Jen. Jen's little corner. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on it.
I can't give any money on that one because I don't know enough about the history or the Bible in that way. I only know bits and pieces of what I've picked up on.
I tell you, I've learned a lot more about it since I've been in the atheist community than I ever did as a Christian.
Oh, I tell you, it's funny how little Christians know about their own Bible.
Yeah.
And I love it when because I get comments on my videos all the time like, you need to read the Bible. I'm like, why do you think I'm an atheist?
Yeah.
Because I've read it and it's ridiculous.
And also, which Bible?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's
like
what put
fucking
me off
obvious.
Christianity was I got a Bible for Christmas when I was 14 and I decided I was going to read it cover to cover. And that's what put me off being Christian. I still thought that there should be something else out there, had a sense of something spiritual. So I spent 25 years examining all sorts of pagan beliefs, thinking
Yeah.
that there had to be something to believe in. And it's like, yeah, all that time researching all that stuff, and in the end, it's like, yeah, this is just pretty much people making up a bunch of stories, and some of the stories are better than others, but nobody's got any evidence of anything.
Yeah. Well, I've never said that the Bible doesn't have a few good stories in it, but it sure does have a lot of fucking bad stories in it as well. But the thing is, my first time reading through the Bible was I was having a hard time my first deployment, and my 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 team leader, who's always been trying to figure a reason to convert me, saw it as an opportunity to give me his Bible and tell me to read through it. And after reading through it, I was just like, "Yep, that's bullshit." Just I don't know. It just seems like I want nothing to do with it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it could have benefited from a decent editor.
Yeah, really could have.
I like comparing the modern some of the modern verses compared to the one before the King James, the first one before King
Mhm.
James. That's the
Yeah.
one that one's got a lot of
Hey, Jen.
differences between the
Hey,
two.
Jen.
Hi.
Hi, Jen.
Well, see, that was part of my problem that when I was reading it, the community I lived in was 85% Jewish. So when I was reading this stuff and trying to talk to people about it, 4 out of 5 people I was talking to had read it in Hebrew and were pointing out all the translation errors.
Mm.
Yeah. And that's the other thing is it's not reliable anymore. Even if it was somehow true, it's definitely not reliable anymore. There's
I think it
too many.
needs to be completely rewritten then.
Yeah, there's been too many translations. You just it's like a bad game of telephone.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly.
So
So,
even if it
Jen,
was,
what's going on with you?
Sorry.
What's going on with you here?
Sorry, I was still trying to figure out my OBS is being silly. Um,
Oh,
yeah. I don't know. The usual. Put out a new video this morning. If anyone noticed it. Um, and yeah, just the usual. Just getting on with life.
I've caught parts of yours, but most of your stuff has been kind of long, and I haven't really been able to sit through and watch the whole streams.
My
does it have
streams
to have
are generally quite long. The video this morning was only 25 minutes, which is probably one of my longer in non-streamed videos. But yeah, I try to keep most of my other content down short. But the guy was nuts.
Yeah, I caught a couple of your scripted videos, your shorter pieces.
I try to keep my
Yeah.
stream short, and then 4 hours later, I go, "Oh, okay, we've been going
Yeah,
for 4 hours."
well, I try to make sure my streams actually stop within about 2 hours, but it doesn't always happen. It definitely wasn't happening on Nuance Nonsense, but I'm taking a break from Nuance Nonsense anyway. So
Well, you watch mine, you get a bunch of Aussies together, and they're all talking. And last Wednesday night, we had a couple of inebriated people. They know who they are. and Discord mucked up on me, so it was complete fiasco the whole show.
so how are we not all doing stuff together, being Aussies? So
I don't know. I've only been recent-ish on the internet and live streaming.
Yeah, Terry's been around a long time, usually in the side chats, but
Yeah,
hasn't really been running his own channel for very long.
Mm.
Yeah, it's only in development. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
If you're wondering what's happening with me aside from my own stuff, I'm doing Down Under Discourse with Osman Kamath and Navadia and Notch Witness. It's a channel the four of us run together, which is basically just discussion stuff for Aussies to jump in on. We bring in Americans and UK people as well, but it's mostly an Australian-led discussion thing on YouTube. So,
Well, if you check out my Discord, that's where you'll see the flavour and the theme where I'm coming from towards my YouTube streams as well.
Cool. We'll have to do some joint YouTube stuff where we visit you guys and you guys visit us. So that would be because if we can get a shitload of Aussies together, we can have so much fun. People don't get the rest of the shit like we Aussies do.
No. Well, that's why my name fits perfect with what we are.
Yeah, the Australian perspective, the Aussie perspective.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, that's what we've been pushing for. Get more Aussie creators together because there's so few of us. We just kind of have to support each other and get together. And sometimes it's really hard. I mean, it's great with Purple doing these midnight shows because they're midday for us, but it doesn't necessarily work out.
I stream our time about 9 o'clock at night, and that's very early hours for Americans, and it's in the daytime for anyone over in Great Britain. So,
well, aside from the kerfuffle that happened between May and Sarah over the weekend that caused major issues, my main thing for stepping back from nuanced nonsense is just the time difference. It's just so hard for me on a Monday morning to have to get up for an early morning show and just write off a whole Monday morning. It's not a good day to write off for me. So
yeah, well, that's pretty much. I've never had a chance to watch any of Terry's when they're running because he's
They're wrong
usually
time.
starting when it's just about sunrise here, and that's about when I'm going to bed.
Because Osman and I have a bit more flexibility than Navadia or Notcha have, we're hoping that we can do some streams in time frames that suit people in the UK and the US as well, so that we can get more discussion in on. Like we did one on gun control the other night, and we managed to get in Doc and Jay, so to talk about it as well. So that was kind of interesting.
Well, if you talk to Notcher about anything, he can always DM me through Discord. I've got him on the Aussie perspective in Discord as well. He hasn't been in there.
No, Notch is good fun. We always give him shit for his tattooed penis.
Wait, not to witness as a tattooed penis?
No, what he's got is he's got a picture. He's got a drawing of himself that looks like the penis is tattooed on.
Oh,
as in it's not a real penis, and we just give him shit for it.
Yeah,
but as he said, if you say tattooed penis, people just think he's had his penis tattooed.
I'm gonna bring that up next time I talk to him.
Yeah, we just like giving him hell.
He's on the Geek Room a lot, so maybe if we're on the Geek Room,
no, not sure. Is awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, we'll have to do some join up stuff with the Aussie creators. Aussie perspective. It sounds like great fun.
Oh yeah.
Sorry for taking over your stream, Purple.
That's fine. I got tired of talking.
Oh no problem. No problem.
Oh, who? Purple? Oh, is he here? Sorry.
We fucked up if it just randomly changes to her channel. It's like,
you know we love you, Purple.
By the way,
he looks so lonely in here on his own, and I'm going, I can't come on yet. I'm waiting for the shopping to get delivered. You know?
That was the tweet I saw. Was I'm all alone here. Somebody come help me. Say, I better go.
Yeah, well, I wasn't prepared for monologuing, and without anybody to talk to, I just couldn't go on very long on my own.
No, that's fine. Oh, it can always hit me up, Purple. Usually on your daytime ones, I'm around somewhere, especially Friday. Friday midday is usually pretty good for me. So it's just I've sort of been a little sidetracked this morning. It's what
Yeah,
happens
well-
when you got a little puppy running around. So.
Yeah,
Oh,
here it's technically Friday, but this is more like what most people would consider Thursday night.
Mm.
Yeah, but it's definitely Friday for us in
Yeah,
Australia.
definitely Friday. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
I've
I'd
already
say,
had sleep.
I
in a
don't
while,
know
so not
specifically
much.
what time zone each of you are in, but I know Nacho's 13 hours ahead of me.
Yeah, he's 13. I'm 11 hours ahead of you.
I'm in the real time zone, New South Wales.
So you're 13 hours ahead as well. And 2 hours ahead of me.
All right.
Yeah, Pirate Kitty, we got a new puppy. Well, we got a new puppy a month and a bit ago. It's my daughter's puppy. It's going to be trained as a care animal for her because she suffers from social anxiety. So having a pup to support her is a great idea.
Ah,
Is it okay if I drop me Discord stuff in the side chat? Inquisitive.
yeah, I was
One?
just
Please
going to
do,
tell you to
please
do
do.
that. Yeah,
Okay.
if you're okay with making the link public, go right ahead.
Yeah, I trust
Yes,
you.
I can jump in then too.
I trust
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah.
Famous last words.
You trusting me? No
Well,
one trusts
it's
me.
not a matter of which one of us you trust. It's a matter of, who may watch this stream 6 months from now. So you got to think about those things on the internet.
Yeah.
You can always boot people though from your Discord, so
Well, if anyone's on Discord at all, they can always PM me, and then I can send them a link that way. That's
Yeah.
a way of doing it.
Just before
I am
you
on.
do,
I am on Twitter as well.
Oh,
I don't like using it, but I know everyone said I had to have Twitter, so.
just send them dick pics.
go
Well,
watch my new video, Ozzy. It's yeah, they were actually counting in the chat how many times I called allegedly Dave an arsehole.
Dude, poor Pirate Kitty. What's your problem with Pirate Kitty, Purple?
What I'll do is I'll put it in the side chat for 5 seconds, 2 seconds, and then I'll delete it, and then.
It'll still be there on the rewatch though. That doesn't work.
Oh, that doesn't work. Okay.
Yeah, if they pause the stream, they can scroll through and find it. So
Yeah.
I'll put it in. I'll put it in the internal chat for now, and then anyone
yeah,
else,
jump in there and
anyone
then I
in
can
the side,
jump in.
and anyone in the side chat can find me on Discord. They can send me a DM.
I'll send you the Down Under Discourse one as well, so you can join that too if you want to. Because we've got as well. Where are we?
Have I got the same avatar set up? Oh yeah, I've got the Aussie flag ball thing set up for the Discord. So that's done. I do have a spare Discord channel which I call Australian Perspective, which is a person's let me use for experimental purposes for
Actually,
streaming.
if you use the right invite to Discord, it only lasts for 24 hours anyway.
Yeah, the one I've. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
only
expire.
last
Yeah,
so
they
long.
expire.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
So
Pirate Kitty I've only seen around a little bit, so I haven't really had a chance to find out anything about them yet.
And obviously, if you want to sub to my channel, you just click on my name. My first flat Earth proof video has been getting good views on it, so that's been good.
cool. Just joined your Discord. There you go. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's doing that again.
And you got a message. I like how the bot gives you messages.
There you go.
Yeah, that's really on Twitter. I pretty much avoid the public areas. I only respond to stuff that people tag me in. But for the most part, the only reason I created an account on Twitter was because it was the way that people were passing links to join the chats.
Nope.
So you're actually a flat earther, Aussie?
No.
Oh, thank God. It's just I noticed flat Earth Aussie Jesus is actually in your channel.
Yeah, well, yeah, I invited him in there one time, and the first time he came into voice, he was a total dick.
Have you guys ever talked to Darth Dawkins? Or fucking what's his other
No.
name he goes by?
I know who you mean, though.
Yeah, that guy came into one of my streams one time, and it was an awful, horrible experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
We'd like to get some people into the show or the Discord that we can discuss inverted commas issues with.
you don't want Darth Dawkins.
No, okay.
If you like talking in a circle, then sure, go for it. But you know, he's a pre-subber, so his whole argument is just basically this huge circle.
Well, even all those terminologies, I'm way down the list of knowledge on all that word you used, pre-sup thing.
Presuppositionalist. It's just Google it.
In all honesty, as much as I hate all the flat Earth crap. Sorry.
Well, presupposition basically means the argument doesn't make sense unless you assume the conclusion before you started.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it goes
Okay, you're putting the cart before the horse before the cart.
You can literally Google Darth Dawkins and it will tell you everything you need know about him. I thought that was kind of funny.
I've seen him in the side chat of a couple of people's things.
Oh yeah. It's kind of like a hobby of his. He just goes and looks for like atheist streamers just to talk shit to, and then you'll never see him in like any of the bigger, more well established atheist creators. He likes punching down.
Yeah, well, and that's basically it.
He's basically a troll.
Yeah, I've seen him in some people's channels when they were getting started out. And it's like any channel that kept going more than 6 months, you don't see him around there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he not a particularly nice person.
I don't make it a point to ban people from my streams, but he is banned for a reason. So
yeah, he's got sort of the same sort of attitude as can't get his cock rising. Not a call for an uprising. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't managed to put out enough videos to attract anybody's attention yet, so haven't run into that. But
you saw what happened with Jay's though, didn't you? When we did a call for an uprising video, and he sent his entire follower base after us.
Yeah.
Mark Dice.
Yeah, that was fucking nasty.
I did a Mark Dice video. It was the only video I got more than like 500 views on for like the first year of my being on YouTube. And he sent his fucking crowd after me just to destroy my comment section. It was awful.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's nasty when they do shit like that. Especially as they never have any argument. It's always personal attacks.
Yeah, it's always, like you're a cuck or fuck you or, it's never anything.
Yeah, or whatever. It's all bullshit. There's no actual argument. It's like, we actually put up arguments and you're a dick.
I get some weird arguments sometimes. Like, I get some weird biblical shit like God is in your heart. God is real. You just want to deny him. I'm like, if I knew God was real, why would I want to be against that motherfucker?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and let's face it, God's an asshole if he's real.
I know.
It's fucking terrifying, dude. No.
If God was real, I would not fucking be sitting here. If I in my heart thought God was real, I wouldn't talk shit about him.
God gives you a choice. No, he doesn't.
No, actually, I wouldn't care. I am truly an apatheist. I don't care whether or not God exists, but if he's anything like the Bible describes, I would have nothing to do with the motherfucker.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And if he wants to send me to hell, I'm okay with that. I think that would be better than what heaven's described as.
Well, my point is,
did you read my post about Jesus?
No,
I didn't see it.
The one where I said I actually think Jesus faked his own death because Jesus was actually a transsexual woman and faked her death to go off and be with her centurion lover.
All I know is you've never seen Jesus or Superman in the same place at the same time.
That's a theory that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I wrote this gravy long post about it and then a prayer to to Mother Joanna.
What if Jesus was Joan of Arc this whole time?
You never know.
Yeah, you never. No one's ever seen them both in the same place at the same time.
Yeah. It's just, yeah. I mean, anything can make as much sense as the Bible does.
Yeah, well, that's, like, I like science fiction and fantasy, and I've got a great capacity for suspension of disbelief. But once you've established something in your universe, you have to remain consistent about it. The Bible is a bad story because it has no internal consistency.
No, none at all. It's just, what, there's two different creation stories that don't gel together.
Yeah.
Noah's
Well-
Ark is obviously two different stories that got meshed together,
Well,
and based from the earlier stories.
It contradicts itself right and left. Virtually any point somebody can make by quoting a Bible scripture, you can find a Bible scripture somewhere else that says the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
That was my whole thing with allegedly Dave in this morning's video, was that the bastard was trying to say that slavery wasn't real. Doing the whole indentured servitude isn't slavery shit.
Yeah, I saw a bit of that. I didn't see when it was starting, so I had already come in like
Like
20 minutes into it.
Oh, so you came in once I was already in full "you're an asshole" mode.
Yeah, so basically I figured I was going to have to go back and watch the replay tomorrow.
The asshole doesn't. The asshole bits actually don't start until nearly halfway through. It wasn't until I actually started denying slavery that I called him an actual asshole.
Wow.
Because at that point, you are an asshole. I'm sorry.
Well, that's right about where I came in, was that how he was explaining that they took the word that should have been servant to mean slave, and it's like,
yeah,
no.
And then he tries to explain that slave comes from Slavic. No.
What?
The etymology of the word slave has got nothing to do with the Slavs at all.
Actually, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
The term Slavic actually does mean slave, but it came the other way about.
Yeah, the etymology does not work that way. The whole thing was the original Slavus is Latin, and then it evolved into the French, which I can't remember what the actual word is, and then into Old English, and then into New English. So all the way back in the time of Jesus, it was still Slavus. So it was still slave, and it was slave. So, and if you go back before then, just because the Hebrews had a different word, doesn't mean it wasn't fucking slavery.
That's nothing wrong with having a slave, as long as he doesn't die after you beat him after 3 days.
Yeah, I mentioned that. Yeah, it's like just get, and the rules for non-Hebrews and Hebrews were different.
Well, and the fact that people would even argue it about that the words we use in English now don't fit, and it's like, are you oblivious to the fact that this was all written in Greek and Hebrew?
Yeah.
So the English words have nothing to do with it to begin with.
Yeah, that too. But I didn't even mention that. It's like his etymology was wrong anyway, so that discounted his whole point anyway. As soon as and twice he screwed up the etymology of words. I'm like, yeah, because he tried to argue that the word job came from Job.
Well, it's spelt the same.
That's about the only thing in common. It's like, oh my god, where?
Yeah, well, and again, it's how we spell it now.
It's not like you should be surprised about this, about somebody who thinks the world is flat and drinks his own urine.
Oh, I didn't know he was that far.
Yeah, he's a flat earther. He drinks his own urine, and he's a part-time breatharian. Because, of course, you can't be a full-time breatharian because that would mean you're dead.
Well, also, wouldn't drinking his urine violate being a breatharian, because he's not supposed to take in anything.
Most of them drink, though.
Yeah,
they probably fill it with sugar.
Yeah. Again, it's a movement I can't believe anybody takes it seriously or expects anyone to believe them.
But unfortunately, some people have, because there have been people who have died.
Yeah.
So it's kind of dreadful that they're even promoting this crap.
Well,
But I
it
didn't
is,
even go into that because his whole slavery thing was bad enough as it was.
Yeah. Well, that's why the woo is dangerous, because, yeah, some people will buy into it to the point that, that they'll get themselves seriously sick or dead, or they'll wind up killing their kids.
No, Pirate Kitty,
that's
that was my first video on Dave. I am not sure I could sit through another one of his videos at the moment. I may rehash his other crap that he believes at some point in the future.
Yeah, I definitely, I'm not going to get into doing live debates at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't even want to get into doing response videos, but I'm sure that at some point, if I keep with this long enough, sooner or later, somebody's going to, come after one of my videos, so.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, if people are going to do horrible, he wasn't doing, but say horrible things like Dave did about slavery and disenfranchised people like that, then who suffered, then
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're fair game. As far as the tackling flat earthers, although I think they're a dangerous cult too of their own thing, they're not on the same level in my mind as anti-vaxxers and people like that who actually do
No,
harm.
I certainly didn't mean that you shouldn't be going after them. I'm just, I'm saying it's not something that I could do, just because that kind of stuff, it's like I'd want to do some research. So just doing it on the fly, I don't think is really something I could
I could
handle.
do it on the fly. I did the whole thing on the fly. I'd already seen the video before, and I actually recorded my responses in real time to it. The whole thing. It took me ages.
Yeah.
No script. So, but yeah, I'd much rather that. I think it looks more natural than a scripted thing if you can try and do most of it on the fly. There were bits I had to read off because, like when I was reading out the Bible verses, or when I did the etymology of some of the words, I actually had to put that up in front of me because some of it's really quite hard to get straight in your head. But most of it I just said off the cuff.
Yeah, even like that, it's like I'd have to look up the Bible verses.
Oh no, I had to look them up too.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew what they were, but I had to read them off.
It's been so long since I read it, that's all pretty much blurred together, so I don't know what came from which book of the Bible.
Yeah, I'm the same, Purple. I have to look it up. I know it's all there, but if you ask me to quote verse and chapter, I couldn't. I'd have to look it up, and then I'd be paraphrasing it if I tried to say anything off memory. I'd have to go and actually read it off the original.
Yeah, Pirate Kid, I agree that for the adults, it's, whatever they want to do is fine, but the problem is the parents. That at what point can somebody step in and say that the parents are endangering their children because of their beliefs?
Yeah, I agree. I think the same with the Jehovah's Witnesses with not allowing blood transfusions and shit like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's our belief. Yeah, and your belief is hurting people. So if your belief is hurting people, fuck off.
Well, and, there's all sorts of people who are claiming a religious exemption to getting their kids vaccinated.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. They shouldn't be allowed to do it.
Yeah.
At least not get mad
especially
when the
for
schools don't want their
vaccinations.
kids.
Sorry?
At least not get mad when schools don't want to take their kids in.
Yeah, but they'll just go to highly religious schools and get even more indoctrinated. It's a vicious circle.
It's horrible.
Well, and even if they're not going to school, they're taking their kids to Walmart.
Yep.
So they're still being exposed to the population at large.
Yep.
And we have to protect those kids who can't be protected, who cannot have immunization, not the ones who don't have it by choice, but the ones who can't.
I'm not saying it's not bad. I'm just saying the least they could do is just stop being dicks about it.
Yeah. But they can't. They're not educated. That's the biggest part of the problem. It's the lack of education about stuff like this. I mean, I was having an argument today in Twitter with a philosophy major who was arguing that because somebody in the past was a bad person, we should disconnect this. We should stop using all the research and discoveries that person made in their
No,
field.
no.
Yeah, legitimately, she was
You
arguing
got
this, and I said,
you got to separate.
"No, fuck you."
It's like when people say you shouldn't watch someone's movies because it turns out they were a douchebag. You got to separate the art from the person, or in some
And
cases, the science from the
especially,
person.
I can accept more if people don't want to watch it. But in a scientific realm, if you're going to say, well, we can't use your scientific advancement because you're a douche, no.
No.
The achievement stands on its own. It is
Well, and
Mhm.
separate
actually,
from the person.
I have kind of an opposite perspective on that. It's like one of the arguments, is like they did all these experiments on people in the Nazi concentration camps, and people are saying that you shouldn't use that research. And it's like, well, the people died for this. So at least if you're using the research, at least that gives their deaths some kind of meaning.
No, that's not opposite. I totally agree with that.
Yeah,
That's my
that seems
point
right on the
exactly.
nose.
It's horrific,
Yeah.
and we should learn where this stuff came from, and we have to learn from our mistakes
No, I just mean
as a
coming at from the
civilization.
opposite direction there.
Yeah.
But,
What's up, Jelly Duck?
Yeah,
That'd be
so
cool
you
for
have
them.
to, you have to look at it from the point of view of, from a historical perspective, we have to look at all the bad things that happened and remember those bad things so that we don't repeat them. But you don't throw away the good stuff that came along with the bad stuff, the
Yeah.
advances that we've made, because if you do that, then we may as well go back to the Dark Ages.
Well, if you
Well-
did, we would be back to the Dark Ages,
Yeah, exactly.
If you eliminated everything that was done by anyone who did something disagreeable, and then you had to eliminate all the research that was done built on that, yeah, that we probably would be in the Dark Ages still.
I mean, she was actually arguing that we should remove Isaac Newton from textbooks.
No.
Oh, because
about
Isaac Newton
no?
was wrong and his studies were replaced by Einstein. Well, no, Einstein built on Newton. Newton was not wrong. He just wasn't complete, because that's how science works.
Yeah.
We move forward as small steps in the progression. And if you're going to apply that logic to Newton, you're actually going to have to remove Einstein too, because he was a womanizing misogynist.
Yep.
So get rid of Einstein.
It's got to get rid of everybody. I mean, no one's fucking perfect. Everyone's got skeletons in their closet. So anyone's ever done, you find something fucked up with them.
Let's scrap the entire space program because it was all built on Nazi technology that went into the V2.
Mhm. Anything with a rocket. Anything.
Yeah, everything with a rocket although that'd be good for as far as nuclear missiles go. But
Yeah, that
the
would.
point stands. If you're going to drop this, there's all this other shit baggage you have to
Well,
drop with it.
Without rockets, we wouldn't have satellites, which means no GPS or cell phones.
Well, even
And
if
this-
we did do all this in some sort of sense of righteousness, what's to stop someone from doing the same? From not doing that? Say America's like, you know what? Rockets were conceived in a means that we don't consider to be acceptable. What's to say North Korea is going to do the same thing?
Yeah, it does really just come back to judge each idea on its merit, and then judge the person separately.
Yeah.
Hitler was a complete and utter asshole, but that doesn't mean I think you should burn any painting he painted. I wouldn't want one of his paintings, but that's a personal preference.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't burn it.
Well, that's what I was just saying to Pirate Kitty on the side. As far as the entertainment stuff, the music or that, it's like a lot of the stuff after the scandals comes out, I can't enjoy it for its entertainment value anymore because it makes me think about what the person did.
Yeah,
but that's your decision.
Yeah.
That's your point of
Yeah,
view.
I'm not saying you should
else
completely burn it. I'm just saying I personally am not going to listen to it.
Yeah, and that's perfectly reasonable.
Let's take that with a controversial one. Bill Cosby and the Cosby Show.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a lot of people who would never watch that again because it's shit that Cosby did. But my take on it is television shows shouldn't necessarily stop playing them because there were more people involved with that than just Cosby, and other people have the right to royalties from those shows as well.
It is unfortunate for the other actors who were involved. Yes.
Yeah. And it does, and just because Cosby was an asshole doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
mean the whole show has to be canned because of him.
Although
Then it comes. Of course, there is the aspect that less people will watch it, so they're less likely to play it. But
yeah,
that's that's a public pressure, not a knee-jerk reaction from the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, the Cosby thing was something I was glad that didn't come out a couple of years earlier, because he was really a father figure for my fiance, and that would have crushed her to find out about that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same thing in Australia, like with Rolf Harris, because I'm in WA and Rolf Harris grew up in Western Australia. There's a hardware store in Bassendean, and it had artwork that Rolf had done painted on its walls. And as soon as he was indicted, not convicted, indicted, they painted over their artwork. And I'm like, what the fuck? You are ruining art because this guy may be guilty. You know, not actually guilty, just may be guilty. Yeah. And that kind of pisses me off. That's Luddite behavior.
Well, and unfortunately, I think in cases like that it's because, when there's a public uproar about it, whoever owns the building doesn't want to be associated with that anymore.
No, I totally get that. I just also find it to be a bit disgusting. That is in as disgusting as I find what Rolf did himself.
Yeah.
I find that inability of us as a society to separate the art or the science or the other creative aspects of a person from the person's behavior itself is problematic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like Angie was saying about, growing up listening to Bill Cosby's stand-up, and that's, I did too.
Yeah. I still think he's funny as hell. I think his morals are fucked up and he did a fucking horrendous thing. He's still funny.
Yeah.
He didn't stop being funny because he was an asshole.
Well, and it's like he did the cartoon of the Cosby Kids. And it's like they stopped playing those decades ago because people complained they were racist. But they were made by a black man, recollecting his own childhood, and these were basically based on people he knew in his neighborhood.
Yeah.
And they accused it of being racist.
Yeah. It's that you've got to be super wokeness. There's nothing wrong with being a bit woke, but when you take it to an extreme that you're looking to find the bad stuff in anything, then you've kind of jumped the tracks on where reality is.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately that woke is a trigger word for me, because it's like, it seems most of the time when it's used, it's got to do with some kind of conspiracy.
Yeah. But it's not just used for that. It's used for what I was talking about the other day with persecution points and persecution politics.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more persecuted than you, so I can't persecute you. No, that's not how this fucking works. Anyone can be persecuted by anyone else.
It's the oppression Olympics.
Yeah, it's the oppression Olympics. Exactly. And it just that kind of attitude just shits me. It really does. I mean, I hear it all the time in the trans circles, and it's why I stay out of it a fair bit, because it just shits me off. It's like, no, just because you are this doesn't mean you can't be an asshole as well, because you fucking can, because I've heard it and I've seen it.
Well, I went through that in the early 80s because the gays and lesbians were arguing about whether or not bisexuals should be allowed in their community.
Yeah. Well, they did the same thing with trans people. It's like,
Yeah, then it
I
happened
think
20
you
years
people
later.
are.
We went through the same, and that's the thing. We keep going through the same arguments. We keep playing the same battles over and over. Why can't we just agree to treat everybody the same instead of it depends what label they've got?
This is why I don't like labeling myself a feminist, and I prefer to call myself an egalitarian, because feminism comes with a whole heap of baggage that is all about persecution politics. But being an
Yeah.
egalitarian doesn't. And it just means you
Yeah.
want everyone to be equal,
Yeah.
which is what we should all strive for.
Well, and again, it's like, I grew up with the feminism in the 70s, which was, just about equal opportunity and equal pay for equal work. So that's, when somebody says feminist, that's still what I'm thinking about instead
Yeah, but
of
it's not what they mean now.
instead of the shitstorm it's become now.
It's the whole thing of rape culture, and
Oh,
we've got
got
to
somebody else fighting.
artificially create evenness. So yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Andre! Woo!
I hope you
Hello,
weren't down there
everyone.
too long. I didn't notice it right away.
It wasn't even a minute.
Okay. That's one of the things about Streamlabs I still don't like is that it only shows the top 4 people and anybody below that's kind of hidden under the toolbar.
I'm used to being a ninja anyway. We're good.
Ninja Quandre. How are you, Quandre?
How is everyone?
I'm good.
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 I mean, I should know by now already because I've been listening to you guys talk for a little while. But I'm in the conversation now, so I have to answer.
Oh, even more in the conversation now.
Well, how about you? How are you doing? What have you been up to this week?
Moving. Well, packing.
Oh,
Oh,
Yes, my landlord is selling, and I'm not buying, and so we had to move and find a place, rental, a house, because we have 3 children. It's in the same school district because we're not moving our children again because I have a 12-year-old that's making friends in his school, and you just can't do that to children. And being the new kid in a new school is just terrible.
yeah.
So we had to find a place real quick, and we did. Actually, it was a 3-day time span from the time we found a place online, checked it out, and had a deposit and lease signed. We have 30 days to take ownership of it. So, cleaning carpets and painting, all types of stuff. We tend to leave a place in better condition than we moved into because that's just how we roll.
cool.
Because it's not the things that you're responsible for that makes you a good person. Yes, everybody loves it when you uphold your obligations, but it's the things that you don't have to do. If you focus on that, that's what makes you a great person, or at least that's how I look at it, and that's what I try to do. So when you move
Yeah,
out of a
I
place
can't
and
remember
the
who the
landlord
quote.
sees the carpets are spectacular and you've repainted and they didn't even have to ask you, that would amaze me as a landlord. So
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember who said it, but one quote I always liked is character is doing the right thing when no one is watching.
yeah, agreed.
It kind of goes with my philosophy of leaving the world a little bit better than when you joined it.
Yep.
Yep. And to comment, semi unrelated, but it's to what you had mentioned a moment ago about them taking Newton out of the textbooks. I tweeted earlier something about true situational irony and how I love it, but isn't
Yeah,
Newton
you saw the thread, did you?
his his famous quote, "If I see farther, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants."
Exactly. I mean,
Okay, that was Newton. Yeah.
was it Newton?
Oh
No,
man,
it wasn't. Wasn't that actually
I
Einstein
believe that
talking
quote.
about
Yeah,
Newton?
that quote may be slightly older, but he is
It was.
definitely accredited for it.
Yeah, Einstein said it about Newton, and Maxwell.
Oh, that's even worse. If Einstein said that about Newton,
Yeah, he said it about. He was talking about
and they
Newton
wanted
and
to take
Maxwell.
Newton out of the textbooks.
Yeah, because but it's true that without Newton, without Maxwell, and all the people who came before him, Einstein would not have got where he got. And
Mhm.
it's the same
Yeah.
for anyone now. You don't do science by going, oh, I'm in my own little room and I'm going to ignore everything else and start from the beginning. No, you look at what everybody else has done before and you find a place to work from there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every advancement that we're making nowadays is attributed to decades and centuries
Yeah.
worth of
Of what?
discoveries that you use the tools of your predecessors to just get a little bit further, and that's okay. That's why we have everything we have, is because we do that.
Yeah.
Why do you
the
think in
reason,
discrete
There.
math we attribute stuff to Archimedes still?
Yeah.
Because these people are the founders of what we do now. They
Well,
laid
that's
the stones that made the path.
the reason these discoveries are possible is because we can read what people wrote down. You know, we can read the discoveries of people who died centuries before we were born.
Yeah. And if we lost that, we would go back to the Dark Ages, literally. I mean, it's why we went through the Dark Ages, because the church went and destroyed all these books. The Great Library of Alexandria. What? All that beautiful Greek text that we lost, all that scientific advancement that we're only just starting to learn about again in the last century. The fact that we now know that Archimedes was on the verge of actually discovering calculus for himself. Where would we have been with that if that hadn't happened? Sorry, I
Oh,
Oh,
good.
no,
That's
that's
good.
destroyed the conversation there. I have this big issue with the church as a whole for destroying documents,
Oh yeah.
because I'm of a belief that if the document exists, it shouldn't be destroyed. It should be kept for posterity.
Isn't there a story about, is it Islam or something, where they had scholars at one time and then they got rid of them all or
Yeah.
something, and we would have more advancement in that area if it wasn't for them getting rid of the scientists or the scholars back then or something?
Maths and astronomy was very strong for the early Islamists, and yeah, they ended up burning all their documents, most of them anyway. So
Yeah.
we lost all that development. They were grinding lenses for telescopes before Galileo had even thought of it.
Well, and not to mention, you know, both Islam and the Catholic Church, you know, prohibiting people from researching certain things.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, that there's people who were curious and were trying to figure these things out, and the church said, nope, you can't talk about that.
Yeah.
It was
It's that
God.
weird, odd love-hate relationship between faith and knowledge, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, because knowledge can remove trust in faith.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
A-
I mean,
As we
it's
learn more,
arguably
we become
the
less faithful.
antithesis of faith.
Yeah. You know, why was there a tree of knowledge that you weren't allowed to eat of?
I think that's a
Because
little
knowledge
inside
is the
joke.
thing that religion fears.
I think that's the inside joke from the creators of the Bible. Like, look,
Yeah.
can't believe
It's
these
the
people.
Babel
Yeah, I
believe
mean,
this
it's
shit.
so obvious. You cannot have this knowledge. Here, eat this apple. It's full of knowledge, but you're not allowed to have it. So,
It's the Babelfish argument.
Mhm.
yeah.
I cannot have proof because with proof there is no faith, and without faith I am nothing. And God disappears in a puff of logic.
Yeah.
Nice.
Puff of Logic sounds like a perfect YouTube name.
That is nice.
I might have to use that.
Yeah, you should change your name.
Like
to
I
that.
said, I've got to come up with something new that's, you know, it's got to be something that people can spell so they can search for it. And it's got to be
Oh, are you
something
going to
that's
create a new
unique.
channel, Purple?
Huh?
Are you creating a new channel?
I think I'm going to have to because my account is screwed up in some strange ways that nobody can figure out. And YouTube, of course, won't answer any of my emails.
How about purple rhymes with logic?
Yeah, purple rhymes with logic.
Yeah, it doesn't quite have the same thing to it, but yeah, I think
Well,
that,
it does.
well, and I do have an alternate account under Orange Rhymes with Purple, but everybody's used to calling me Purple, and
That's
it's
why you got to
actually
keep.
gotten to the
Yeah, you got to
point
keep
that
purple.
I'm so used to responding to it that anytime I'm in a store and somebody says the word purple, I turn around. So
It turns out there's somebody choking.
They're turning purple.
it's just these two old ladies looking at the yarn colors.
Which would be convenient if you were trained in first aid. I mean,
A little bit better than most Boy Scouts, but yeah, not anything that people would consider formal training. A
I
lot
am
of it's been
actually
on the job
certified in
training of
first
just,
aid.
I've had to learn how to do it myself. You work on construction sites, somebody's got to do it.
I think it's like once every 2 years I have to get recertified in first aid. I mean, it's a food plant, but I get fire safety training, I get first aid training,
Nice.
all types of stuff. I mean, it's just kind of in the package. It's great.
It's all right being certified as long as you don't get institutionalized at the same time.
Gotta be
Well,
careful
that's
when you're
debatable.
certified. Gotta be careful because if you're in like a different state or whatever and your certification's not good, you can get sued.
Is that
Well, the
right?
difference between institutionalization and shift work, that's debatable.
Yeah. I got my basic lightsaber certification in Texas, and then when I went to California, I had to be careful not to try to save anyone's life. But
Well, my sister had that when she moved because she's a registered nurse. So just when she moved to another state, she had to get recertified for everything.
yeah. Hi, Kitty.
And it's like there was a contradiction that nobody bothered to explain, that being a registered nurse meant that she had to be a first responder if she saw anything happening. However, not being certified in this state meant she could have gotten sued for doing anything.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of legal shit that goes with saving someone's life that you wouldn't think would go with it. It's like would someone really sue me if I kept them from choking to death? Most likely not, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, unfortunately, these days you hear too much of that happening. It's like, yeah, there's something really wrong with our society for that.
No, but they
Yeah.
can sue you for cracking a rib while administering CPR.
Yeah, which is pretty likely doing CPR.
Well, there's things around that. They won't
Yeah.
get very far because of the protocols that are designed around administering CPR. You have to ask them, do they want any help, and that demolishes you from any liability from anything that can
Yeah.
happen from you trying to help. And if they cannot answer, it is acceptance
Implied consent.
by implied consent.
Yep.
Yeah, um, that was a weird incident I ran into with my brother because he also has some training in that area. And one of the old guys who lives in my building here was literally laying in the middle of the street because he'd lost hold of his walker. And he's like, no, we can't touch him until he says he wants help.
It's
Yep.
true. Even paramedics, they can't really do anything if you don't give consent in
Yeah.
your conscience.
So
Now,
you have to explicitly ask him, do you want us to help you get up?
But what if he's got Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or whatever you call it, where he
Yeah,
forgets what he
implied.
said 5 seconds later? To say, what are you doing? What are you helping me? Well, you just said we could help you, and he goes, no, I didn't. So that's
Well,
where
if it seems that they can't mentally give consent, then it's implied consent based on the judgment of the paramedics.
I think we've talked
Yeah.
before, Ozzy, on Look at Pig's old Discord.
Yeah, I've been down there. I was a moderator on there one time when he.
Yeah,
Before
I
he-
dropped in one night and was having a chat with you guys about flat Earth stuff.
Yeah,
Good old
Yeah,
flat Earth.
yeah,
And you guys ended up talking about cars.
yeah. I usually always go down that road.
Yeah, something I know nothing about.
I know more about cars than I know about nearly any other subject we talk about.
Yeah, I think you were posting pictures of your is it a Ford? Yeah,
No, Holden.
a Holden. Yeah, a Holden.
Yeah, don't swear to me.
Yeah, I saw
Sorry,
pictures
I
of the
knew
project
I'd
car
say the
there.
wrong one and commit blasphemy. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
fix houses. I don't get cars very well.
Oh yeah, carpentry too. I can do carpentry in cars.
Yeah. Well, I can do everything in a house. The only thing I don't mess with is the heating and air conditioning.
Mm.
And that has more to do with the fact that you need a lot of specialized tools for that I don't have.
I can do basic electrics, but not in depth.
Yeah, short of doing the heating ducts, if you gave me the pile of materials and a couple of strong helpers, I could build a house from scratch.
Yeah, PowerPoints and light fittings, things like that are not a problem.
The electrical and plumbing is actually the part I like to do because then somebody else has to come by after me and cover it up and make it look nice. I don't have to care what it looks like as long as it's functional.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm probably gonna go hit the road. But
Okay, well, thanks for coming in.
guys. I'll try to give every one of you guys a sub if I. Yeah, well, I should be able to. There
Hi,
should be
Ivy.
no excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see you later. But yeah, if I
Enjoy
wind
that
up,
stack hitting.
like I said, I'll probably wind up making a new channel. I expect that's probably going to come in about a month. And I'll certainly need a lot of help and a lot of shout outs from people just to even get subscribers to migrate over to the new channel.
You'll definitely get a shout out from me, which is always fun talking about your channels anyway. But yeah, so guys have a good night, and yep, I've given subscribes to each and every one of you guys. So have fun.
You
Yeah.
too.
Bye.
Bye.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, and Angie's up to 50 now.
Woo. Yeah, Angie.
I actually have 22 and no content. It's amazing.
I started out that way. I was up to about 35, 40, and I didn't have any content.
Yeah, that's about where I
Talking
was.
of that, I need to subscribe to you, Ozzy.
Yeah, I had about 24 subs when I put my first video up.
I do have to add in and give some love to Purple because he was my first subscriber.
Aw. There you are. There you
Now
are,
see,
Barry.
and this is why when I see new people, I click the go to channel thing and I subscribe to people just because there's like, by this time, about 30 people that I was their first subscriber. So odds are sooner or later one of them's going to make it and I can boast about that.
Oh, you're up to 95, Terry.
Whoa! I only need 5 more, and then I'll have 100.
look.
Then I'll have 100 show.
You on the Twits, Terry?
Yeah, but I don't use it that often.
No, I'll shout you out on the Twitter. We'll get you. I'll get Navadia and Notcha to shout you out. And we'll get you over 100.
That works. I've seen it happen so many times.
It got me over 100.
Yeah, actually, I got over my first 100 by getting into God the Good Ones live streams. That I picked up a decent number of people there.
I mean, all you wonderful people have helped me get up there. So
Yep.
I think the whole community is fucking amazing.
Yeah, well, and I broke 200 this week, and yeah, part of that had to do with not just shouting me out again. You know, that
Of course
he
he did.
found about another 6 or 8 people who hadn't subscribed to me yet.
I may gain a few. Doing my deconversion story with Neil on Saturday.
Oh, you definitely will.
Oh, you'll gain heaps with Neil. Yeah.
I need a part 2 on that.
What about Navadia the other day getting 50 odd subscribers from being on Dave's show?
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, she was on DRP.
Yeah.
And they turned
Yeah, I
it
knew
into
she
a
was on. I
competition.
didn't realize she'd
Yeah.
gotten that many.
Yeah, they turned it into a competition because they were both so close to getting to 500. Well, she got there first.
I had looked at her channel yesterday, and I had
Yeah, she's
noticed that
over
she had
500.
jumped up quite a bit.
Yeah, she's up over 500 now.
David actually asked me on his show a few weeks ago. I was absolutely amazed. I was like, wow, I'm honored. But I had to tell him I've got to wait a little bit because I did promise Neil that I would appear on his show first. It's not like I'm a household name or anything, but you know, I never anticipated being in a spotlight or anything when I started doing everything that I'm doing. I just
Yeah.
wanted to not be quiet about my atheism and my insight anymore. And I just wanted to put my voice out there. And, you know, it was Neil who had asked me, it was quite some time ago, if, you know, do you want to, you know, I should ask you, did you want to be on my show? It blew me away. And he's had to cancel on me twice just because of different things happening, people coming from out of town, people getting sick, all types of different shit. And I promised him, I'm like, you know what? Just because you asked me first, I'm like, you know, if anybody else wants me on their show, you are going to be the first person. And you know, that's something you got to do is
Yeah.
when you open up your mouth, you do what you say you're going to do. Which is why my dumb ass ended up having to sing Whitney Houston
No.
for Doc's Streamathon terribly. But you know, I said I was going to do it, and you do it, and
Yeah.
it was a great time.
That was good. That
Well,
was
you
so
know,
good.
and I've mentioned a couple of times offhanded that David had me scheduled for the end of the month, and just realizing that, oh yeah, that's next week now. So
Yeah.
I'm scheduled to be on DRP next Tuesday at 7.
I mean, that's the thing with
Nice.
if David asks you to be on, don't expect to be on for a month or more.
Yeah, well, that's
he
it.
is
It
so
was a month
booked
ahead of
up.
time that he scheduled me, so I'm
Yeah,
just
he is so
realizing that
booked
that's
up. He's
coming up.
going to ask you about a month in advance because, yeah, he was talking to me about that. So,
Yeah, until you started talking about it, I didn't realize that, yeah, that's less than a week away now.
yeah.
And don't worry, Pirate Kitty, my deconversion story wasn't even anywhere up there to the level of most people. So don't worry if you get to go on.
Yeah, I didn't really have a
Maya,
deconversion story. We wound up just talking about a lot of other random stuff. You know, because
Maya's saying
I
I
don't
should have
feel.
posted that in my channel with
Yeah.
me singing that. That was on Silver
You can
Lena's
come up.
channel, and she was gonna take an excerpt out and repost that once she got some of her stuff together or something about her computer, and
Sorry, pal.
she hasn't came out with that yet. As soon as she takes that little snippet out of it, I'll throw that on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
I'm
like a
like you,
2.5,
Purple. I don't
almost
have
3
much
hour
on
stream
either.
or something like that. That it was.
It's a problem when you grow up in a family that's fairly progressive, even though they're religious. You don't really have a deconversion story because you just sort of grew away from it.
Well, that's
not
the
a-
thing. I grew up and my parents were religious. They weren't extremely fundamentalist religious, but you know, it was church
Same.
every Sunday and everything. It's just I started doubting when I was like 12, 13 years old. I made that Santa Claus connection, you know, like this seems really familiar. This guy that you'd never seen can see everything you can do and
And he makes a
is
list
going to
of naughty
punish
and nice
you.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, this sounds like bullshit. And
And it smells like bullshit, so it must be bullshit.
Yeah, but
Well,
you did get presents.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Santa actually has more physical things to support his existence than God.
Yeah. I questioned things even as a kid. So it's like I never really felt I really believed much in anything. It was kind of like I kind of went along with what everybody else was doing, but I never felt I had a strong belief in anything.
I mean, I didn't even know I was an atheist until probably it may not even like a decade ago because of that definition, that very poor straw man definition of atheism that everybody gets fed with. You are just a God hating, there definitely is no God and you have proof, but you just can't give it to anybody. And just that illogical atheist definition that everybody gets. I didn't,
Yeah.
that's what I thought an atheist was. So I'm like, I just ignored all ists and isms and I am just me, so, but once I got into the secular community, I started watching more like AXP and watching Seth Andrews videos. And over the, course of the past 5-10 years or so, you start to understand exactly, what, I am an atheist. I just don't believe. If you're a doubting Christian, and you're not 100% sure, even agnosticism, you don't know. Most people think that agnostics is like, I'm kind of on the fence. It could go either way. You're an atheist.
Oh, you wouldn't want to have that argument with Steve McRae.
I don't want to have any arguments with Steve McRae
No.
because I've heard him argue and I'm just not up to that level. He's a much better interlocutor than I am. And regardless if I have a better point or not, he's better at getting his point across because he has got way more experience arguing with
Having
people
said
than
that,
I
he's
do.
actually pretty good at listening
Yeah.
to people.
He is.
So
He is.
it's amazing that he can do that when he's obviously, I'd say a good 60% of the time he's the smartest person in the room.
Well, I
Indeed.
stopped watching Steve McRae about a year ago because it always seemed that whenever he was in a debate, they spent more time arguing about the definitions than anybody did making any points.
And he still does that.
It
Yeah.
was like
Well, that's a
today's
very
show.
important part of an argument.
It is,
Not
which is why he's
talking
pedantic
over each
about
other's head with just, you're talking about different shit and you're using the same terminology. No, define everything. If you can't agree on that, you're going to get nowhere and you might as well not even bother arguing. So if you can't agree on the words that you're using, you're wasting your time.
You had a
No,
guest on
I
the show
agree.
today that was just like that. That he was throwing out his own definition, and everyone on the panel was trying to explain to the person, what definition do you mean, and trying to explain that words have meaning, not just yeah.
Yeah, well, I think maybe, if you're arranging an organized debate like that, shouldn't you kind of have a glossary that's decided on beforehand so at least everybody,
Yeah,
knows what terms they're arguing about?
that would be the sensible thing. But quite often, if you're arguing with certain types of theists or flat earthers or something like that, they will always change their definitions whilst they're in the middle of discussion.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of the sentence.
In the middle of sentence, yeah.
Well, yeah, with the young
that
earth
whole thing of
creationists and the flat
conflating.
earthers, you see that all the time.
I mean, Ken Hovine does that all the fucking time. He conflates two entirely different things as the same thing. So yeah. Dead Space.
Now, I was reading what Doc Pearson wrote that personally, I'm already tired of the what is an atheist agnostic. It's more important to me to point out that I'm not religious. That I think explains me better than the atheist label.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that
I
helps
do
it
the same
simplified,
thing.
Yeah.
I say that I'm agnostic towards the existence of a god, but if you present your god, I'm probably going to be atheistic towards that.
Yeah, well, like I say, I really don't care whether or not a god exists. It's like, even if I give you that he's there, you've got to give me some reason why I should care that he exists.
If a God does exist, he may be a bit of a bitch. Because
Well, if
there's been
yeah,
a
if
lot of
he's the
people
one
throughout
described in the
history
Bible,
that's
yeah.
really said some pretty awful shit about him, and they seem to be doing okay. So he doesn't seem to, want to step up to the plate very much. So if he is out there, he doesn't really seem to want to defend himself very much.
And if there is a God out there, he's not the one in the Bible.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just not possible. Not as presented in the Bible as we have it now. Maybe in some original text way back when there was a God that's represented somewhere. But
If he is the one in the Bible, somebody really missed a few memos.
Oh yeah. But you can't have an omnipotent, omnibenevolent, omnipresent God and have free will. I mean, I know there's arguments
Yeah.
whether or not we actually have free will anyway, but you cannot have that.
Yeah,
So
it's
there is no
illogical
choice,
that-
which
that
means
they
we are all
counteract each other.
pre-condemned. So you are created to be the sinner you're going to be, and you're pre-condemned, so you're created to already go to hell.
Yeah.
That free will is the biggest fucking cop out I've ever heard. And it's just like my ears
Yeah.
swell up when I hear free will. It's so aggravating.
Well,
I'm
but
sorry, if your God already knows everything and is in complete power of everything, there is no free will.
yeah, but you get the people, the religious people that will argue that everyone has free will, but when anything bad happens, it's part of God's plan.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
the other
like
side of that,
one or the other. You can't argue both of those at the same time.
Oh,
No.
yes, you can.
well, they tried.
Not that you're right if you do, but you can argue anything if you have the drive to do so. I am married to a fundamentalist Pentecostal, and
Really, that must be so hard.
it's interesting. But you make your bed, you're lay. I did not marry her that way. She
Oh, she
turned.
became it.
She became it, and I did not follow in her footsteps. I am still who I am.
Was she a Christian before, or did she become a Christian?
Through my definition, yes. She believed there was a God, but she didn't follow any. She didn't read the Bible all the time. She didn't go to church. She just knew, quote unquote, there was a God, and that was it. But now it is. Whew.
Makes it hard.
She's 3 times a week going to church, on the praise and worship team,
Oh my God.
full heavy indoctrination with the children. And, she's still my wife. I love her. And we took vows. It's the whole better for worse thing. And this is part of that for worse. And she's still a person, because I am a humanist before I am anything. And
I'm a humanist.
I've
A sexual
dove
humanist.
so deep into my humanism over the past 15 years
Yeah.
that I am able to see past a lot of that. It sucks. It's like she's almost a different person, but she's still the person that I married. And I have to love my wife. And a difference in ideas, no matter how fundamental or how much it seems to change her persona or our life, will not separate my family. And I have to be a positive secular influence for my children. And I will not let something as stupid as something as like, I don't believe in it, to break apart a family. I won't allow it.
Yeah.
Now
And
you've
you
got-
can find
you've
a
got
common
Unless, of
kids.
ground.
course, I don't have a choice, but it's not going to be on me.
Now you've
Yeah.
got kids together.
3.
Okay, so don't a lot of issues come up with that about making decisions about, what you're going to do with the kids for, school and so forth? And
Well, they go to public schools. We find the best school districts that we can, which is part of the reason of the moving that we're doing right now, is because we had to stay in the same school district. There'd be big problems if she was trying to homeschool them. Fortunately, that's not an issue. They go to church with her. and they get taught a lot of stuff that I don't agree with, but that's temporary. If you've ever heard Seth Andrews' story, he was the poster child of indoctrination.
Yeah.
He ended up being a Christian broadcaster, and now he is like the James Brown of atheism. You know, he is the Elvis of the secular community. He is like just the face. Everybody, like, if you're an atheist, you've heard his name. And he grew up about as indoctrinated as can be humanly possible. So that does not shake me one bit on how bad my children are being indoctrinated right now. They see daddy, they see me, they see me being a good person. They know that I am not a believer. And I just love them for who they are. And I do not let this get in the way. And that's the best thing I can do right now instead of letting this tear our family apart and seeing the damage that conflict can have on a family. They don't need to go through that.
And if you did leave, they would be even more indoctrinated.
Yeah. And I mean, not to speak of if she were to remarry some religious nut, and I don't know what he's up to. And he could be a great guy, but he could be terrible. And it's just the point that I could subject my children to somebody that could be terrible. And that's another thing that I have a choice to not happen. So whatever I got to do to keep a family together, to keep my children in my life, and to uphold to my vows and my word, that's what I do. And that's just me. You know, other people might have a different view on that. The people saying, oh, I wouldn't take that shit. And you know what? Fine. That's you. My word's more important to me than a little pride. And I don't care.
And all
what
props
anybody
to
says
you
about
for it. No, all props to you for it.
No, you're looking out for your kids, and that's important.
And you're also looking out for the vows, and you're also sticking with the person you love. I mean, just because she's changed in one way doesn't mean she's changed in other ways.
Yeah, you can't jump ship when, you know, the shit hits the fan. That's what the vows are fucking for.
But even if you're not married, even if you're just in a normal committed relationship, wow. That's confused language there. You know what I meant.
I get what you're saying.
In just a committed relationship. It's no different. You stand by the person until you realize that there are differences that you can't reconcile. I mean, physical violence would be one that you can't reconcile. And, and I guess there would be at some point there would be a point where differencing of opinions became so much that it meant that the rest of the relationship breaks down underneath it, and that might be a point as well. But whilst you're not in that position, why wouldn't you work to save your marriage? Why wouldn't you work to stay together?
Yeah, I mean, unless you feel that you have just royally fucked up, like, oh, I married the wrong person. That whole irreconcilable differences thing, that's just code for I'm giving up on something that I promised I would fight tooth and nail for. And I don't think that that's right. I mean, yes, there's situations where you're just in something that has become absolutely toxic, but people give up way too quick on a lot of things, not just marriage.
Yeah.
You fight for what's important to you, and period.
No, I totally 100% agree with you. There you go. You thought you were going to have dissenters here, and we all agree with you.
Oh no, like I really don't expect any conflict on that on my concept on it. As you know, somebody's always going to give you shit for no matter what, no matter how right
Oh,
or wrong you are on something. Somebody's going to give you shit, but I don't expect it because really I
there's
don't care.
always people out there who just live to kick the shit, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That's all they want to do. They see something and they go, right, I'm after that.
yeah. And I'm no stranger to the interfaith relationships because I was pagan for 25 years and virtually everybody I dated was Christian. So I had 2 long-term relationships involved in that period.
Whew.
Yeah,
So I feel you.
Yeah.
I've mostly dated the non-religious, but my first marriage was with a somebody who was very religious and has become even more religious, but we're still friends. So
Yeah, one of the women I lived with, she was fairly laid back about it, but her family got very upset that her kids seemed to like what I was teaching better than what they were teaching.
awesome. Well, I haven't done pagan purple. I went from Christian to just spiritual. So I sort of believed that the whole universe was kind of a spiritual being.
Yeah, well, that's, I never followed any particular tradition or that, but I observed the solstice and the equinoxes and, just the general holidays. And
My thought of faith when I became spiritualistic was more or less what the Minbari have in Babylon 5.
I never watched that series.
So if I'd got the bone things, I could have been a Minbari.
Yeah, I always kind of had the concept of sort of the holistic universe, which I guess would have, made me more
Yeah,
like a
very similar.
deist.
Yeah, I was very deist, yeah.
Yeah, that just kind of like the universe was God's body, so we were each like a single cell in the body of the God.
Yes, that's exactly how I was. Exactly. So yeah, that kind of deistic religion was what I went to from Christianity, and then from there I started listening to things like the Atheist Experience and Aaron Ra, and that led me into becoming an atheist.
You gotta love Aaron Ra.
I love Aaron Ra. I so have a thing for Aaron Ra, but I've said it many times.
I got to party with him.
Yes, I'm jealous as hell. You and Diana, damn you two.
That was
And
worth
live
the
to tell
trip.
the tale.
She got a freaking hug.
Yeah, that was worth the trip. Also, have you heard Aaron Ra's Bigfoot story?
I have not.
Oh, um, shoot, I will have to find that for you for a second here. Hold on.
Aaron is just amazing. Aside from the show on Non Sequitur, I have not, and talking to him a little bit on Twitter, I haven't had much to do with him, but I think he is absolutely awesome and I love him to bits. And if he wasn't married, I'd be chasing him down.
Oh, there we are.
Mind you, I'd probably have to fight so many other women to get to. I just love him to bits.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna drop a link in the side chat here.
Cool. I'll go and have a look at it later.
It's actually only about 2 minutes.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do it whilst we're chatting.
Yeah, it's a real quick little story. But so you'll get the joke later. But it just happened that my sister had given me a bumper sticker that said Bigfoot saw me, but no one believed him. So I got Aaron Ra to sign that, and I'm going to frame it with the picture I took with him.
Oh wow!
After you read the Bigfoot story, you'll get the whole joke.
Yeah, no, I will. Go and watch that later. And I love Aaron. I'm amazed I actually haven't seen that because I've seen most of Aaron's content. So, and like I said, he's an absolute sweetie. From my interaction with him, he's just amazing.
Yeah, Jen Morgan saying, I don't think I could marry a religious person of any religion. Them believing in all that magic says to question how well or clearly or objectively they are able to gather and process information. And that's even as a pagan, it's like I looked into a lot of things like the crystal healing and things like that, and I tried to come up with theories of how this could operate, including things of like, okay, if we have a 12-dimensional universe type things and all this, but that I couldn't accept anything that contradicted what I knew to be scientifically correct.
The thing is,
So it's
anything
like,
that
yeah, even as a pagan, it's like I tried to believe the magic had a way to work, but I had to find some way to fit it into what I knew of the universe actually working,
yeah,
which is why I eventually had to give up on the idea.
the thing is, anything that's highly advanced science to somebody who doesn't understand it can look like magic.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Any sufficiently advanced technology
Yeah.
is indistinguishable from
all
magic.
from magic.
Yep, that's Arthur C. Clarke.
Yeah, and if you go back far enough, your slightly advanced technology
Is
it
magic.
was there at the same time as you were the farmer. So the priests had access to this knowledge of being able to do this weird magic-y trick-looking stuff that nobody knew how they did. They didn't have a concept that this was fake, so they were able to push across this thing that miracles were real.
Yeah. Insert explanation here.
That's right. Oh, God did it, or this God did it, or the magic of the universe did it.
I've got this perfect trick plan. Do you know what flash paper is that magicians use to make a flare?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay. If I'm ever in a situation where I know I'm going to be expected to swear on a Bible, I'm going to have a lot of flash paper in my hand, and I'm going to have wires to an electric igniter running up my sleeve. So that as soon as I touch the Bible,
it just catches fire.
Yeah, there'll just be a flash of fire, and I've got to pull my hand away.
Oh, that would be an awesome thing to do walking into a church.
You could just draw a little
flash
picture of
paper around
Baphomet
you.
on your palm. You might not need the flash paper.
Flash paper around your shoes, and you ignite it as you walk into a church.
I've made that joke several times.
Oh, that would be just so good. Yeah, live the joke.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
there have been a few things in my life that I still lack a good scientific explanation for. So there are still things I wonder about, but I'm not going to accept ridiculous claims about them. It's just that since I can't get the experiences to repeat, I've got no way to test them.
Yeah,
I'll
and
take
there's
that a
nothing
step
wrong with saying
further.
that I don't know. It comes back
Yeah.
to that I don't know. Something happened, but I don't know what it was. I'm unlikely to ever be able to explain it, but that doesn't mean there isn't a valid explanation.
I would say it's safe to say that there is more out there that I don't have a quotient scientific explanation for than things that I do. And of the
But that
ones that
doesn't
I
mean that
do,
there
are
isn't
they
one.
correct? Oh, of course. Yeah, there's an explanation out there. I just don't know it yet. Or can we ever know it? I don't even know that. So, and I'm okay with not knowing. I'm not okay with guessing.
Yeah.
Everybody loves a good hypothesis, but as long as you
Yeah.
state it correctly, that it's a hypothesis, this is what could be it. Let's investigate.
Yes, that's how you guess. You don't guess by saying, I think it's this, so it must be.
Okay, Pirate Kitty says she's got a story to tell here, so I'm gonna.
Oh, grab her in. Grab her in.
Okay, Pirate Kitty, I'm sending you a link in Twitter so you can come in.
No pressure.
I want to hear Pirate Kitty's story from Pirate Kitty.
Okay, check your DMs in Twitter. Should have a link therein. Well, like I said, I don't really know
I'll
Pirate
even
Kitty
mute
yet.
myself.
I've seen Pirate Kitty around in a couple of chats, but I don't really, know them yet. So, and sorry if I misgendered you. I was assuming you were female, but
Yeah, you should.
sorry if I made a mistake with that. I, not really thinking about it.
I'll even mute myself.
I got self control.
Yeah, that's the Wiccans.
Are you suggesting I don't?
No, I'm just
There we go.
stating that I've got self control.
Hello.
Kitty!
You didn't have at least a little picture?
No, you can do that while you're in here. Only takes 2 seconds.
You guys don't at least have cameras?
No, I don't own a camera.
I'm a truth ninja.
Well, I've got one now. I've got to figure out how to use it. And
Is this
You
thing
got to
on?
open the
Can
you got to
hear
open
me?
the box first,
We
Purple.
can hear you.
Oh, okay. So-
okay, we can hear you now.
So the story that I have to tell is kind of similar to the one that Purple said with the whole torches and everything. I work in retail, and I was ringing somebody up, and they had some Gain, and Gain makes me sneeze. So I'm scanning, and I'm finished, and I start sneezing because of the perfume. And the guy walks up, and he goes, "Oh, God bless you." And I said, "Thank you." And then I got this little evil grin on my face and said, "It's a good thing you're not a priest, because I probably would have just burst into flames." Right. And I'm living in like South Carolina and Georgia, United States. So he pulls his jacket aside and it says Pastor so and so of such and such Methodist Church. And I'm like, oh, please take that for the joke it was meant to be. And he looks at me for a couple seconds and he says, "Well, you're not smoking, so I guess you'll be okay."
It could have gone
Usually, when
worse.
people say something like "God bless you," I have an almost reflective response of saying, "Which one?"
Oh, you should stay, Kitty. Oh,
Oh, Kitty, you didn't have to go.
Kitty. No, you
When I hear
stay. You
when I hear somebody sneeze, I say curse you.
curse you.
And then they look at me funny. I say, "Don't worry, I'm an atheist. My blessings don't work either."
Well,
I might say that if they sneezed and didn't cover their mouth or nose.
yeah, actually, I've been wondering about that, and it's like, you say "bless you" when people sneeze. When people fart, you're offended. So, I've been feeling we should start that when somebody sneezes, you should say, "I forgive you." For spewing their germs all over the place.
I'll
I
just
better-
scream and run.
well, considering
Purple?
both
Oh, yeah,
There you are,
things that-
Kitty.
for
Sorry.
both
Hey,
of
Kitty, welcome back.
for both of those things that you were saying, Purple, out of either end, I'd just say it's better out than in.
Yeah.
By the
Okay.
way, Kitty, it's lovely to be in a stream with you. It's freaking awesome.
Yes, it is. I'm less nervous than I thought I would be.
I left Doc a link so that if he has a chance to come in, he can. He said he's got a story too, but I know he's at work, so.
Oh, Doc's always got a story. Doc is so much fun.
Well, I'm at work. Well,
So Pirate Kitty, you're the
I'm taking
newcomer
a
to the
short
group.
break.
Yeah, come on, Pirate Kitty. You can drive the conversation for a bit.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I do have a question. Purple, were you at Faithless Forum?
No,
Oh, okay.
I'd like to be, but it's a 1,000-mile trip for me.
Gotcha.
Although the
wasn't
trip down to
spirit.
Kentucky wound up being longer than that, so maybe
That's
one time.
nothing, Purple. Imagine how far it is from me and Aussie.
Yeah, we have to get waders and floaties.
Yeah.
I always tell people I'd love to visit Australia, New Zealand, that area, but I have this irrational fear that I'll step off the plane and then something will kill me, like a
Well,
snake or a spider or a
there's the
ossuary or something.
typical tourist indoctrination.
Yeah, there's really isn't anything any more dangerous here than there is in the US.
Oh no, I know. It's just you see these lists where it's like top 10 most deadly
Well,
snakes, and like 8
don't
of
read.
them are in Australia.
Yeah, don't read those lists.
Yeah, most of them are just absolute drivel. I
Yeah.
mean, if you're talking about deadly snakes, you shouldn't be talking about poison. You should be talking about how often people actually get bitten.
That's fair.
And I've lived,
and it's so rare.
and I've lived where I've lived all my life, and I haven't seen a kangaroo or a koala.
You haven't seen a
No.
kangaroo? How could you not have seen a kangaroo?
Well, they don't hop down the street where I am in suburbia. I'd have to go out.
Well,
I'd have
that's
to go
true.
out back.
They don't here, but I did grow up in a small town, so I've seen them hopping in town.
Yeah. Okay.
You just
But,
ruined
wow.
my fantasy of Australia.
Yeah. Yeah, you really have to go out in the sticks to see them hopping down a small town.
That's it.
They've got
I've
like
also-
kangaroos greeting you at the grocery store, you know.
It really doesn't happen. Even where I grew up, it didn't happen. I had to get not in the town I actually grew up in, but in the neighboring town, I've actually had to stop driving because of kangaroos jumping across the road in the middle of town.
And every
And
time you go to,
I've also had emus stop traffic as well.
and when
Well,
you go to the, when you go to the beach, you don't have a Jaws type recollection of the movie where the shark comes out and eats you.
Yeah,
I
think I've only ever seen once a shark at a beach. My entire life, once. It just doesn't happen. It's no different here than it is anywhere else. Spiders are probably the things you see most often, and that would mainly be redbacks.
And
Well, I've
even
lived
then-
in
same
the
as your
U.S.
black
my whole
widows.
life.
Yeah.
I've lived in the U.S. my whole life, and apparently I'm the only one who's had a marsupial nest in my garage, huh?
Wow.
It was
Possums.
a possum.
Yeah. Yeah, when we had some real bad flooding from the Des Plaines River, we had a displaced opossum decide to set up a nest in our garage.
But technically, yours are opossums, not possums.
Kind of depends which region of the country you're in.
Does it? I
Yeah.
thought they were all opossums and not possums.
Yeah,
I
didn't
know
think-
that, but I
I
can't
didn't think
put the
there was
O
a
in front of it
distinction
for some
between
reason.
them. I thought it was just the way people pronounce it.
No, there is actually a difference in them. No, there is. The Australian possum is actually different to the American variant. Even though they're both marsupials, they are
Well,
actually different.
In the U.S., people will use both pronunciations for the same animal.
Yeah, but possum is the Australian and opossum is the American.
Okay.
I always thought the opossum was just they always have like a really funny, surprised look on their face all the time.
Oh,
I almost hit one the other night driving home. Thankfully, I think I missed it.
Okay, Angie's
Oh.
had possums in her garage too.
I punched a possum in the face one time.
it's still better than you having a raccoon.
I'm not violent towards animals, but he
Yeah.
scared the fuck out of me. I sat down on the porch. I was like 19, smoking a cigarette, and I sat down. It was dark, and I just looked over, and he's like 18 inches from me. He looked at me, and he hissed at me. He fucked up. I panicked, and I punched him in the face, and he ran off, which I'm lucky because apparently they're quite timid when backed into a corner. So
Could be
He
worse.
ran.
In Australia, you might do that to a Tassie devil. Because they're vicious, those little shits.
Well, so are raccoons. Raccoons can do the
Yeah,
cute little
raccoons,
kitten
yeah.
act if you have food. If you don't have food, they'll just eat your hand.
And
do they actually
freaking
run off in a little
intelligent
tornado?
raccoons. Sorry.
Do the Tassie Devils actually run off in the little tornado? That would be delightful.
No. It's
Ow.
a shame because it'd be brilliant. They don't even look like the Tassie Devil. They don't even look like the Tassie Devil in the cartoons. And they're probably smaller than a large rabbit as well.
Yeah, well, that's true of the
They'd
roadrunner
still kill
too.
a rabbit. Trust me, they'd still kill a rabbit.
I think
Vicious
the first
little
time I
buggers.
saw a Tasmanian devil picture, I was surprised at how small they actually are.
Yeah, they're quite small.
Yeah,
But
well, you
they
see,
are very vicious and they'll take on things 2 to 3 times their own size.
You see the Warner Brothers cartoons, you get the idea that a Roadrunner's about as tall as a man, and actually the things are smaller than a chicken.
Yeah, the tiny little things.
So I think we've all learned we just can't trust animation for our information.
Yes, yeah, you don't get your science from Warner Brothers or Disney.
Or history, if it's Disney too.
Although Disney have this absolutely brilliant footage of a beaver damming a river.
Well, Disney used to do some really excellent nature programs.
They did,
Way
but I
back in
wasn't
the
talking about
day.
nature program.
Yeah. I remember watching those growing up, but that was like back in the 70s.
They've got a cartoon of a beaver walking across the top of a dam, and the dam collapses, and then does his nuts at it. And the caption is, "Here we have actual footage of a beaver damming a river."
Oh, okay.
That would be a great meme.
It's one of those Disney things I always remember because it was freaking hilarious.
Now that you mention, I think I remember that clip. Yeah.
That's an awesome meme idea.
It is
like a beaver standing like on a riverbank, and he's got like a Bible out, shaking his fist at it.
Beaver damming a river.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it was one of the better jokes that Disney did. I love Disney animation, but the humor was not as good as Warner Brothers.
Well, Warner Brothers definitely was the top of the cartoon slapstick humor.
It was.
You know, and a lot of that had to do with I can't think of the guy's name, but the guy who did
Chuck
the sound
Jones?
effects.
Or was that Chuck Jones?
Yeah,
Yeah, and Mal Blanc.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That just the sound effects they put with it is what really sold it, I think.
And the humor was just really clever. It was very much Charlie Chaplin in cartoon form. So yeah.
And the immensity of voices that Mel Blanc did is astounding.
Oh, that man was a genius.
Yeah. A current one that a lot of people probably know some of his voices, aren't aware of, is Scott McNeil. But among his other credits was in the Transformers Beast Wars show. He voiced 6 of the 10 main characters.
Wow, that's impressive.
So at a convention, he said that his job mostly consisted of sitting in a glass booth talking to himself all day.
Yeah. Seth MacFarlane's kind of taking on that sort of bridge these days, isn't he? With the number of different voices he does and the stuff he produces.
Yeah,
He
he does a
lot of
pretty good
characters.
range too.
He does. I mean, I don't think any of his stuff is going to sort of be as long lasting as Warner Brothers and that, but
Well,
he's still a creative genius.
I think for as many seasons as Family Guy ran, that it'll be playing in reruns for many decades.
Oh, I agree too.
Oh yeah.
But then again, it'll stop running and there'll still be Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Yeah, but I also think that's part of why he wanted to do something else, and why he's gotten onto the Orville. That he wanted
I agree
to do
with you,
something
Jen Morgan.
completely different.
Bugs Bunny and drag was hot.
Now, see, I kind of wonder about some things like that as a kid. That how many people did that kind of influence and kind of normalize the idea to?
Yeah, it also
comes in
normalized the
steps.
idea of making fun of that sort of thing, though. So
Yeah.
There's a two-edged sword there.
Yeah, definitely. But
not that I'm against that. I think sometimes you have to take that two-edged sword to something to start off with, so that you can get a desensitizing of the public. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, get him used to it in a humorized way, and then kind of take the humor out of it.
Yeah, because not all humor is a negative thing.
There's a fine
And
line
in
between
all
ridicule and
honesty,
acceptance.
Yeah.
in all honesty, if you can't laugh at yourself, there's something fucking wrong with you.
Well, Angie did make the comment that she bought some old cartoons for her kids, and rewatching them realized how sexist and racist they were.
Oh boy.
And it's like, yeah, there was a lot of that. And there are some cartoon characters that we will probably never see on television again because of that. I mean, when was the last time you saw Speedy Gonzales show up?
When was the last time you saw anything major from Popeye?
Or the movie Song of the South.
Oh, yeah, Song of
Yeah,
the South.
the
I
Song
love
of the
Song
South
of the
is one
South.
that Disney won't release again.
And
I
that
love-
makes me so mad. I love Disney, and I always liked that
It's
the
a
Brer
beautiful
Rabbit
movie.
story.
And I love Brer Rabbit, yeah.
And the thing was, it's like somebody explained to me what a tar baby was after the fact, and I'm like, but I would never have made that connection. And like 90% of
And
people
besides that, they
would
made
never
an
have made the
actual
connection.
tar baby.
Right. It wasn't like, I mean, it was a baby made of tar.
Tar. Yeah. There was nothing.
Well, but again, that wasn't originally a Disney story. That was a folk legend that Disney commandeered.
Well,
It had
that's what
been-
Disney do with all that
Yeah,
stuff.
it had been, told for 100 years or more before Disney ever found it.
Yeah, I mean, look at the changes they made to Noddy. Well,
Naughty.
big ears can't sleep over at Noddy's because it means they're gay. What the fuck? It's a kid show.
Oh.
That sort of thinking, like it's that correct think. You have to think a certain way for it to be right. And now, I'm
Yeah.
not a big fan of language policing. I do think there are certain things that, by nature of the way they're used, maybe become things that certain people shouldn't use. For example, the N word. People who aren't trans saying tranny and things like that. I do think there is an element of that there because of connotations from it. But I'm still not a huge fan of language policing.
Were you guys all aware of the whole thing with Mr. Atheist and the pumpkin posse thing that he was doing?
Oh, yeah.
Were you aware there was a person on Twitter who was flipping out about that because they didn't like that we were using pumpkins because of the whole fruit thing.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. And like despite being explained like multiple times, it's like black people repurposed and the N-word and some trans people are okay repurposing
You can say
that word,
yeah.
tranny and trap and stuff like that. Mr. Atheist is recommandeering being called a fruit. And she just flipped her shit and blocked anybody who appeared on her timeline with a pumpkin in their name.
Yeah, I was one of them. I got blocked. So.
I was commenting purposefully just to get on there because I wanted to see if she'd do it.
Yeah,
Let them comment something I would like.
It's crazy. I mean, if you're a part of a community and you can't reclaim that word, there is something wrong. And
I mean, I can understand if you don't want to use it and you don't want to say it.
Yeah, that's fine.
But you can't tell other people that they can't use that word if they feel that word applies to them.
Yes, and as a pansexual person, that certainly applies for Jimmy. There's no reason he can't claim that word. And there's no reason why he can't armor people with that word to get back at somebody who wants to use it as a slur.
Yep.
That's why I reckon I should tell blonde jokes because I'm blonde.
Nah, I'm blonde too.
Did you hear about the blonde girl who tried to blow up her ex-boyfriend's car? She burned her lips on the exhaust pipe.
Yeah, that's enough on that one.
I'm blonde too. I used to tell blonde jokes all the time.
What do you call a brunette between two blondes? A translator.
Why do blonde secretaries always have trouble getting the white out off the screen?
Yeah, I think you canceled that one, but yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think I
you did. You canceled that.
What do you call blonde with hair dye? Artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now I'm not touching any of these jokes.
I used to know a lot more, but I can't remember them now.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Because I used to say them all the time.
I
See,
used
that's
to
how
a
you
lot more too, but
desensitize yourself against stuff. I mean, I've always been an advocate for if it's funny, it's funny, and context matters. You know, if you're making humor out of a situation to insult a person or to go after that person or that group of people, then you're an asshole. But if you're making humor because it's just funny, that's entirely different.
That's where I've always stood with it. You know, if you're coming from a place of hate or ignorance, that's
Then fuck off.
bad.
Yeah.
But if you're just describing a difference or you are just putting something out there that's just is what it is, and let's laugh about our differences and, you know, break bread together at the end of the day, then why not be able to laugh about stuff?
Years ago, I was on the writing team for a radio show called Behind the Fridge, a comedy radio show, and we did an episode on political correctness, and I wrote a script in for that called Transsexual Airways, and we were told we had to remove it from the show. And my argument was, I fucking wrote this. I'm trans. What the fuck's your problem? See, if you're telling me I can't make jokes about myself, then you're the person with the problem, not me.
Indeed.
Jen Morgan's saying, "Geez, I thought I was safe, and blonde jokes were gone by now. I was wanting to dye my hair blondish with streaks, maybe blue and pink."
It's all right, Jen. We just got to the tranny jokes too. But I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? If you've got to be able to laugh at yourself, you've got to be able to take things in good jest to start off with. And then if it is about personal attacks, if it is about demeaning a particular person or group of people, then that person who's doing that can just fuck off.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's general humor, and just accept it for the fact that it's funny.
Yeah. Well, and I identify myself as a slut, and I have to constantly be correcting people who call me a whore. Because you're only a whore if you get paid for it. For me, it's just a hobby, so I'm a slut.
It's like the amount of shit that myself, Sarah Michaels, and Anti Ordinary get because we will say tranny. And it's like, you know, you can't say that word. This is from the trans community, not anyone else. No one else gives a fuck what we say. But it's from the trans community. No, you can't say that because you're dehumanizing us. How? If it's one of us saying it, how is it possibly dehumanizing?
Yeah, it's a descriptive term, right? And, you know, you're just describing
and we're
somebody.
reclaiming it by saying it.
Yeah, well, it's only a word. It depends on its usage. I can say tranny because I'm working on cars a lot. So
yeah, exactly. But if you said it near a trans person, they'll probably think you're talking about them and think you're being insulting.
Yep.
And this is language policing of a type that I don't agree with. I agree that some words are unacceptable in certain situations. I also see that there are always exceptions to that, and that humor can often be one of those exceptions. And if you can't accept that, grow the fuck up.
I'm going to have to drop out, Purple. I've got to help my wife Irene. She broke her ankle, and I've been caring for her for the last several weeks now. be a while before she heals properly enough to get around. So I've been doing all the domestic duties, and I haven't even got a chance to get out into the shed and working on the car type stuff as much as I'd like to.
Yeah.
It had to get back to the car again, didn't it, Terry? Yeah.
Well, that's my
Had to
hobby.
get back to the fucking car.
Yeah, well, that's where I live out in the shed. I don't live inside. So I'll catch up with you another time.
Yeah,
Nice to
sorry
meet
to
you,
hear.
Jan.
I hope she heals up.
No, it's good to meet you again, Terry. And yeah, we will catch up again and we'll do something.
Okay then. Bye, guys.
No worries.
See you, Terry.
Bye.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to drop out as well. I've been working since 6 a.m. yesterday, and it is now 4:09 a.m. the next day, and I still have more work to do. So
Okay, well,
I'm going to get finished so I can go home and go the fuck to sleep.
well, before you go, you got anything on your channel you want to plug or you want to drop a link for?
Nope. I mean, I've got my YouTube channel that I put a couple playlists together. I mean, I'll make some videos at some point, but I'm not really pressured. It'll happen when it happens, and it's not like I'm out for fame or fortune. As soon as I get some programming or the means to make a good video that I would find acceptable to represent myself, I'll just do it. Until then, I'm comfortable on Twitter, Quizzitive Quandary. I help people. Somebody's in trouble, somebody feels bad. I'm particularly talented at insight and philosophy. I'm not a professional philosopher, but I'm really good at perspective and helping somebody find a way to deal with something that's troubling them. And that's my talent, and that's what I do. So,
And you're talented.
well, thank you. And I sing Whitney Houston terribly. So if you ever need a good laugh.
You do a lot better job of it than I ever could.
I was trying, but it was meant to be a cringe.
What song did you sing? I missed that part.
I Will Always Love You.
Oh God, the one song by her I hate.
I picked that. It's not like, I'm a huge Whitney Houston fan or anything, but wherever, freaking Jim Majors shaved his leg on for a dare on this Doc Fearsome, let's get him in a fucking car streamathon, and how do you hit it out of the park after that?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, if somebody donates $100, I'll sing Whitney Houston. I picked that because that's like the most that I can pull off the top of my head, the craziest. Oh my God, a white male is going to sing Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You. I got to hear this. No matter how bad it is, just attempting to do that. It's the craziest song I can pull off the top of my head. And Seth Andrews donated $100. I was screwed. So, I had to do it.
Yeah. You did
was
well,
amazing.
though.
Well, thank you.
Well,
maybe
and it
somebody
was great
should
for you to
hear me
step
sing
up.
something I can actually sing well one of these days.
Yeah. It was great for you to step up. I just couldn't come up with any talent I could demonstrate online. So
I have a
You don't
talent,
need
but I'm not
talent.
going to
It's
demonstrate
not
it. 'cause no one
always
wants to
about
see it.
talent. Somebody wants, when it comes to streams and putting a trick or a dare or something like that out there, somebody either wants to see you do something very well, or they want to see you fail miserably and be okay with it. It's not like they're being malicious about it, like, oh, I want to see this person in misery. No, it's like a cringe thing. They're like, I can't believe that they tried to do that. It's just putting yourself out there and giving somebody a good show. And, at the end of the day, nobody gives a shit. They're like, oh man, that was terrible. Can you believe that guy? Oh, what's for dinner?
Yeah.
And that's how it goes. You have to have a healthy relationship with humility. That's what it's about. Nobody really cares that you failed because they're going to forget about it.
well, we actually are going on about 3.5 hours.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to head out soon.
Yeah, well,
too,
I was
so-
thinking that maybe I should just wrap this up now anyway, because I've got to get some extra sleep because I've got to drive down to Chicago this weekend.
Oh, yeah, you go get some sleep.
So that's, yeah. That's
I'm glad
about
I was able
400
to
miles
join you
each way.
today.
Huh?
Doc,
I'm glad I
I'm
was
not
able to
singing
join you
anymore,
today.
Whitney. I see that in the chat. Scientist Mel donated $100 yesterday. Oh my freaking goodness. I didn't put any more dares out there. I served my time. I mean, if she's requesting me sing something, I'm true to the game. I'll respect, especially scientist Mel donating some cash. She wants to hear me sing something, I'll do it. But damn it, I've served my time.
Okay, well, Jen, do you have anything coming up you want to plug?
We've probably got some more Down Under discourse coming up in the next couple of days. We had something planned, but I can't remember what it is or which day we're doing it on. So if
Okay.
people want to follow that,
Well, drop a link in
there'll
the
be
side
links.
chat for the channel.
Yeah, I'll have to find it. In all honesty, follow me on Twitter and you'll know when things are coming because I'll post it. That's the best bet. Follow me on Twitter, people. I'm at the Donkey Tree, which I will also type. So.
And Pirate Kitty, if you feel you've got something to say or a different perspective on something, just record it, put it out there.
I know everybody just says, you're going to hate the first couple ones, maybe the first 30 ones, but you just got to do it. My problem is just finding the time to do the editing.
Yeah, that's.
I want everyone follow Pirate Kitty. She's awesome.
Thank you.
And Inquisitor and Purple, but you obviously already follow Purple because you're here.
Well said.
You still there,
All right.
Purple? Have we lost Purple?
How did we lose Purple?
How did we
You lose the
Purple?
host.
Purple?
Well, I
Purple
need
fell
to drop
asleep.
out anyways. My boyfriend was just hollering at me from the other room. He hurt his back, so I have to go help him.
All right. No,
I also
Kitty,
find just.
Go Purple, go. Purple's having mic problems.
Oh, nope. You did lose him.
Okay.
Yep. Well, he was talking about ending it anyway, so.
Right. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, it was
All right.
wonderful meeting
It was great to be in a thing with you, Kitty. We'll have to try and do it again sometime.
Sure. Yeah, you guys, you Aussies are always up when I'm actually up and able to do things because I'm like.
We'll have to have you on
midnight
Down Under
to 5
Discourse.
IN.
We'll have you on Down Under Discourse, and
sounds fun.
We'll lift you up a bit more.
Yeah, I might not get all the jokes. Because, like I said, the some of them are over my head or under me, depending on how you want to think about it.
Underneath and upside down.
Right.
Oh no, imaginary. We're imaginary. Remember?
Oh yes, there's that too.
Okay.
Purple's back.
Am I back there? Yeah.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
We were just filling in the blanks for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seems that my internet connection's gotten flaky now anyway, so.
All right. Well, what are you up to,
Let's wrap this
Purple?
up. That basically around here, that means one of two things. It either means it started raining and they've got water in something again, or it means that AT&T is doing some BS with the equipment, which they like to do around this time of night.
So what are you up to, Purple? Come on, we've all said what we're up to. You must be up to something.
Well, like I said, right now, at least this week and next week, I've got just so much personal stuff going on that, I'll keep doing my scheduled chats Tuesday at noon and Thursday at midnight.
Yeah.
I've got 5 things that are in various stages of production. I just don't know when I'm going to get any of them done. And then whenever I've got time, I've got to play with the camera and find out what software I can get to work with it.
Cool. Awesome.
So
it'll be good to actually see more of you.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to be, actually live on camera very much.
That's understandable.
But I do still have some other things I can use it for as well.
Cool.
Well, everyone, I bid you adieu.
Okay.
I'm going to get back to work.
Well,
so
thank you, everybody, for coming by. So,
Yep.
Doc,
Hi, everyone.
hope you have a decent rest of the night at work.
Yeah, morning. I'll get out of here before the bank opens.
Night,
Yep.
everyone.
Awesome. Well, good night,
Bye.
everybody.
Okay, good night, everybody.
See ya.
And I'm ending the broadcast now. So that should disconnect us from